My beloved child, before you continue listening, I want you to pause for a moment and understand something important. You are not here by accident. Out of all the voices you could have heard today, out of all the paths your day could have taken, you arrived at this moment for a reason. Here is a message that has been prepared for you, and I have been waiting for the right time to place it before your heart. Perhaps you almost scrolled away. Perhaps you nearly ignored this moment because it seemed ordinary. But what if I told you that some of the most important moments in your life arrive quietly? They do not announce themselves with thunder. They do not come wrapped in certainty. They arrive like a gentle knock upon a door, waiting for someone willing to listen. My child, I know the questions that have been living inside your heart. I know the concerns that keep returning when the room becomes silent. I know about the burdens you carry without speaking about them. I know about the prayers you have whispered when nobody else was around. I know about the hopes you have protected because you were afraid they might never come true. You have been searching for answers, even if you have not admitted it. You have been looking for reassurance in a world that often feels uncertain. Some days you have appeared strong on the outside while carrying exhaustion deep within. Some nights you have stared into the darkness wondering if anyone truly understands what you are going through. I understand. That is why this message hath been prepared for you. Imagine a traveler walking through a dense forest before sunrise. The path ahead is hidden. The trees cast long shadows. Every direction seems uncertain. The traveler wonders if they are lost. Yet above the forest, beyond what the traveler can see, the sun is already rising. Light is already on its way even though darkness still surrounds the path. My beloved child, many times you have judged your future by what you can currently see. But I see beyond the shadows. I see beyond the confusion. I see beyond the temporary struggles that have tried to convince you that nothing is changing. What if the season you are in is not the end of your story? What if the delays, disappointments, and unanswered questions are not evidence of abandonment, but signs that something greater is being prepared? What if the very thing you have been waiting to hear is closer than you realize? I want you to listen carefully in the moments ahead because this message is not random. It is not meant for someone else. It is meant for you. There are truths you need to remember. There are fears you no longer need to carry. There are promises you have almost forgotten that I am about to place back into your hands. Do not allow doubt to steal this moment. Do not allow yesterday's disappointments to close your ears. Open your heart and stay with me. What you are about to hear may become the reminder you did not know you needed, the encouragement you have been longing for, and the answer you thought would never come. My beloved child, this is only the beginning. I have something important to tell you. My beloved child, now that you have opened your heart to hear me, there is something I need you to understand. Long before this moment arrived, long before you pressed play, long before you even realized how much you needed encouragement, I was already watching over you. There has never been a single day when my eyes were not upon you. I have seen the moments that nobody else noticed. I have watched you carry responsibilities that felt heavier than you admitted. I have seen you smile when your heart was hurting. I have seen you encourage others while secretly wishing someone would encourage you. I have seen the strength you displayed in public and the tears you shed in private. Nothing about your story has escaped my attention. There were days when you felt invisible. You wondered whether anyone truly understood what you were carrying. You questioned whether your efforts mattered. You questioned whether your prayers were reaching beyond the ceiling. Yet even in those moments, my beloved child, I was closer than you realized. I was there during the nights when sleep would not come easily. I was there when anxious thoughts raced through your mind. I was there when disappointment settled into your heart like a heavy fog. I was there when you felt forgotten, overlooked, or misunderstood. And I want you to hear this clearly. Your pain never went unnoticed. Sometimes you imagine that I only pay attention to the major events of your life. You think I only see the big victories, the important decisions, or the dramatic turning points. But I am a father who notices every detail. I see the silent battles. I see the sacrifices nobody applauds. I see the courage it takes for you to simply keep going when everything inside you wants to give up. There is a story of a shepherd who owned a large flock. Every evening, as the sheep returned home, he counted each one carefully. To an outsider, the flock looked like a single crowd. But to the shepherd, every sheep mattered individually. He noticed immediately if one was missing because he knew them personally. My beloved child, that is how I see you. You are not a number. You are not lost in a crowd. You are not just another face among billions of people. You are known. You are seen. You are remembered. Every dream, every fear, every question, every hope, you carry them before me, and I know them all. When life became difficult, you may have wondered where I was. You may have looked around and seen challenges instead of answers. You may have expected immediate solutions and found yourself walking through a season of waiting instead. But even during the waiting, I was working. There were dangers you never saw because I protected you from them. There were paths that would have led to greater pain, yet I redirected your steps. There were opportunities you thought you lost that would not have brought the peace you imagined. There were closed doors that felt like disappointments but were actually acts of love. You could not see the entire picture, but I could. Just as a child may not understand why a loving father guides them away from danger, there have been moments when my guidance did not make sense to you. Yet my care for you has never changed. My love has never weakened. My attention has never drifted away. Even now, as you listen to my voice, I want the weight of loneliness to begin leaving your shoulders. You do not walk through life unnoticed. You do not face your struggles by yourself. You are not abandoned to figure everything out alone. I have been walking beside you through every chapter of your journey. I was with you during your victories, and I was with you during your losses. I was with you when you felt confident, and I was with you when uncertainty filled your mind. I was with you when you celebrated, and I was with you when your heart was breaking. And I am with you now. So take a deep breath, my beloved child. Let this truth settle deeply within your spirit. You are seen. You are known. You are loved more deeply than you can imagine. The message I have prepared for you is only beginning to unfold, and before we go further, I need you to remember this one unshakable truth. There has never been a moment when I stopped watching over you, and there will never be a moment when I do. My beloved child, there are battles within you that few people know exist. There are struggles you have learned to hide so well that even those closest to you may not fully understand what you carry. You have become skilled at saying, "I'm fine," while quietly fighting storms beneath the surface. But I know the thoughts that visit your mind when you are alone. I know the fears that sometimes whisper that you are not enough. I know the memories that return without invitation. I know the disappointments that still sting even though time has passed. I know the questions you have asked yourself but never spoken aloud. There are wounds that cannot be seen with human eyes. A broken arm receives attention. A visible injury invites concern. But the hidden pains of the heart often remain unnoticed. Many people walk through life carrying invisible burdens, and perhaps you are one of them. Perhaps you have been carrying the weight of rejection. Maybe someone you trusted failed you. Maybe words spoken years ago still echo in your mind. Maybe you have spent so much time trying to prove your worth that you have forgotten you never needed to earn your value in the first place. My beloved child, I have seen every moment. I have seen the tears you wiped away before anyone noticed. I have seen the courage it took to get out of bed on days when your heart felt heavy. I have seen you continue moving forward when you felt exhausted. I have seen your determination when circumstances tried to convince you to quit. What others call ordinary perseverance, I call remarkable strength. Here was once a tree standing alone on a hillside. From a distance, it appeared calm and steady. People admired its strong branches and healthy leaves. They assumed its life was easy because it looked so stable. What they could not see was the battle taking place beneath the surface. Deep underground, the roots fought through hard soil and stubborn rock. They stretched through darkness searching for water. Every storm that shook the tree above forced the roots to grow deeper below. The struggle was hidden, but it was the very thing that made the tree strong enough to stand. My child, much of your growth has happened in places nobody could see. The struggles you have faced have not been meaningless. The tears have not been wasted. The difficult seasons have not been empty chapters. Even when you felt like you were barely surviving, something deeper was being formed within you. Yet I know that some days you become tired of being strong. You become tired of carrying responsibilities. You become tired of pretending everything is okay. You become tired of waiting for things to improve. You become tired of fighting battles that seem to return again and again. Listen carefully to me now. You do not have to carry those burdens by yourself. The fears that keep you awake at night were never meant to become permanent residents in your heart. The anxiety that tells you to expect the worst does not have the final word. The discouragement that tries to convince you that nothing will change is not speaking the truth. I am speaking a greater truth over your life. You are not defined by your struggles. You are not defined by your mistakes. You are not defined by the opinions of people who failed to see your worth. You are not defined by your worst day, your deepest wound, or your greatest disappointment. You are my beloved child. And because you belong to me, your story is larger than your pain. The battle may be real, but so is my presence. The challenge may be difficult, but so is the strength I have placed within you. The road may seem long, but you do not walk it alone. Right now, I want you to release the pressure of believing that you must handle everything perfectly. I want you to release the fear that you are falling behind. I want you to release the belief that your hidden struggles make you weak. They do not. In fact, many of the battles you never talk about have revealed a courage you did not know you possessed. Every time you chose to keep going, every time you refused to give up, every time you found the strength to take another step, you demonstrated a resilience that I've been building within you all along. So take comfort, my beloved child. The battles you never talk about are fully known to me. Nothing is hidden from my sight, and nothing is beyond my ability to heal. I am closer to you than you realize, and even now, I am working in the deepest places of your heart, preparing you for the peace, healing, and restoration that lies ahead. My beloved child, one of the questions that has quietly lived within your heart is this: why has this season been so confusing? You have tried to understand what is happening. You have searched for clear answers. You have looked for signs that would explain the delays, the unexpected turns, and the moments when nothing seemed to make sense. Yet the more you tried to understand everything, the more uncertain you sometimes felt. I know that feeling. I know how frustrating it can be when the path ahead is not clearly visible. I know how difficult it is when you want certainty, but are surrounded by questions. You want to know where you are going. You want to know when things will improve. You want to know why certain doors closed, why certain plans changed, and why some prayers seem to take longer than expected. But listen carefully, my beloved child. Confusion is not always a sign that you are lost. Sometimes confusion appears because you are standing between what was and what will be. You have left one season behind, but you have not fully entered the next one. The old chapter is ending, yet the new chapter is not completely unfolded. In that space between endings and beginnings, uncertainty often feels unavoidable. There was once a traveler who began a journey through a valley covered in thick morning fog. A path stretched ahead, but he could only see a few steps in front of him. Every time he looked farther down the road, the fog hid what lay ahead. At first, he became frustrated. He wanted to see the entire journey. He wanted proof that he was moving in the right direction. He wanted assurance that the road would eventually lead somewhere worthwhile. But no matter how hard he tried, he could only see the next few steps. What the traveler did not realize was that the path itself was safe. The destination was secure. The road had already been prepared. The fog was not there to harm him. It was simply preventing him from seeing everything at once. So he kept walking. Step by step, the road revealed itself. With each movement forward, new ground became visible. What seemed uncertain eventually became clear. My beloved child, there have been seasons in your life that felt exactly like that valley. You wanted to see the entire picture, but I only showed you enough for the next step. You wanted all the answers, but I was teaching you trust. You wanted immediate clarity, but I was building faith. You wanted certainty about tomorrow, while I was inviting you to focus on today. Many times, confusion has less to do with where you are and more to do with what you cannot yet see. If a seed could speak while buried underground, it might believe it had been forgotten. Surrounded by darkness, unable to see the sunlight, it might assume nothing good was happening. Yet beneath the soil, life is forming. Growth is taking place. Roots are stretching deeper. A future harvest is quietly being prepared. In the same way, some of the most important work I do in your life happens beneath the surface. While you are looking for visible evidence, I am often working in invisible ways. I am arranging circumstances. I am preparing opportunities. I am strengthening your character. I am developing wisdom. I am teaching lessons that will serve you in the future. And because you cannot always see these things happening, confusion sometimes tries to convince you that nothing is changing. But that is not true. More has been happening than you realize. The closed door that disappointed you taught you something valuable. The delay that frustrated you protected you from rushing ahead too soon. The waiting season that tested your patience was developing strength within you that you could not have gained any other way. Even now, there are pieces of your story moving into place. You may not see them yet. You may not understand them yet. But that does not mean they are not happening. My beloved child, I do not ask you to understand everything. I do not expect you to have every answer. I do not require you to solve every mystery before moving forward. I simply ask you to trust me. Trust that I see what you cannot see. Trust that I know what lies ahead. Trust that the road has not disappeared simply because it is covered by temporary fog. One day you will look back on this season and realize that what felt confusing was actually preparation. What felt uncertain was actually guidance. What felt like wandering was actually progress. So release the pressure of needing every answer right now. Let go of the fear that uncertainty means failure. The fog will lift. The path will become clearer. The purpose behind this season will reveal itself in time. Until then, keep taking the next step. I am guiding you, even when you cannot see the entire road ahead. My beloved child, there is something I want to help you understand today because it has been the source of much frustration, disappointment, and even heartache in your life. There have been moments when you looked at your circumstances and concluded that you were falling behind. You saw others moving forward while you remained in the same place. You watched doors open for others while your own opportunities seemed delayed. You prayed, waited, hoped, and believed, yet the answers did not arrive according to your timetable. And because of that, you began to wonder if something was wrong. You wondered if you had missed your chance. You wondered if your dreams had slipped away. You wondered if I had forgotten about the desires of your heart. But my beloved child, what you thought was a delay was often preparation. There is a difference between being denied and being prepared. Many people confuse the two because both involve waiting. Both involve uncertainty. Both require patience. Yet they are completely different experiences. A denial closes a door permanently. Preparation strengthens you before the door opens. You have often mistaken preparation for rejection because you could not yet see what I was building behind the scenes. Imagine a master builder preparing to construct a great house. Before the walls rise, before the windows are installed, before anyone admires the beauty of the finished structure, something important must happen first. The foundation must be laid. The work below the surface takes time. To those watching from a distance, it may appear as though nothing is happening. Days pass. Weeks pass. Perhaps even months pass. Yet beneath the ground, essential work is taking place. Without that foundation, the house could never withstand future storms. My beloved child, many of the seasons that felt slow were actually foundation seasons. You wanted visible progress, but I was strengthening your foundation. You wanted immediate results, but I was developing endurance. You wanted quick answers, but I was building wisdom. You wanted the blessing, while I was preparing you to sustain it. Had certain opportunities arrived earlier, they might have overwhelmed you. Had some doors opened too soon, you may not have been ready for what stood behind them. Had every prayer been answered instantly, important lessons would have been missed. This does not mean your desires are unimportant. It does not mean your dreams have been ignored. It simply means timing matters more than you realize. Consider a farmer planting seeds in a field. After placing them in the soil, he does not return the next morning expecting a harvest. He understands that growth follows a process. The seed must first develop roots, and it must break through the surface. Then it must mature. Only after time and care can the harvest arrive. If the farmer demanded fruit before the season was complete, he would destroy the very thing he hoped to enjoy. In the same way, there have been areas of your life where growth needed time. You may have looked at the waiting and called it a setback. I called it development. You may have looked at the silence and called it abandonment. I called it preparation. You may have looked at the closed door and called it failure. I called it protection. My beloved child, some of the things you prayed for years ago are connected to who you are becoming today. The journey itself has been shaping you. Every challenge has taught you something. Every obstacle has strengthened something within you. Every delay has carried lessons that will serve you when the next chapter begins. Think about how much stronger you are now than you once were. Think about the wisdom you have gained through experience. Think about the resilience that has developed through difficulty. Think about the compassion you now possess because of your own struggles. These qualities were not formed overnight. They were formed during the waiting. That is why I need you to stop measuring your life only by visible progress. Growth is not always obvious. Advancement is not always immediate. Some of the most important transformations happen quietly, beneath the surface, long before they become visible to others. Even now, while you are waiting for certain answers, preparation continues. I am aligning circumstances. I am arranging connections. I am opening paths you cannot yet see. I am teaching lessons that will soon make sense. The story is still unfolding. So release the fear that you are behind. Release the belief that time has run out. Release the burden of comparing your journey to someone else's path. Your timeline is not their timeline. Your purpose is not their purpose. Your preparation is not their preparation. Trust me, my beloved child. What felt like a delay was not evidence that I had forgotten you. It was evidence that I was carefully preparing what comes next. And when the time is right, you will understand that the waiting was not your enemy. It was one of the greatest gifts I ever gave you. My beloved child, there are wounds within your heart that few people know about. Some were created by words spoken long ago. Some came through disappointment. Some arrived through betrayal, rejection, loss, or experiences that changed the way you viewed yourself. While time has continued moving forward, parts of your heart have quietly carried the weight of those moments. Many people around you see your smile, but they do not see the scars hidden beneath it. They see your strength, but they do not see the effort it takes to remain strong. They see the person you present to the world, but they do not always see the healing that is still taking place within you. But I see it all. I see every hidden wound. I see every disappointment that left a mark. I see every moment when trust was broken. I see every prayer that was born from pain. And I want you to know that I have not ignored any of it. Sometimes you believe healing should happen instantly. You wish that one prayer, one moment, or one breakthrough could erase every painful memory. You wonder why certain emotions still return. You question why some wounds seem slower to heal than others. Yet healing is often a journey, not a single moment. Consider a skilled gardener tending a tree that has been damaged by a storm. Broken branches must be carefully removed. Weak areas must be strengthened. The roots must continue receiving nourishment. Growth does not happen overnight, but with patience and care, life begins to flourish again. The gardener does not abandon the tree because it was damaged. He tends to it even more carefully. My beloved child, that is how I care for you. I do not look at your wounds and turn away. I move closer. I do not grow impatient with your healing process. I walk beside you through it. I do not measure you by what hurt you. I see who you are becoming beyond the hurt. There are times when painful experiences convince you that you must protect yourself by building walls around your heart. You become cautious. You become guarded. You fear that if you trust again, hope again, or love again, you may experience the same pain. This reaction is understandable. But walls that keep pain out can also keep healing out. That is why I gently invite you to trust me with the places you have tried to hide. You do not need to pretend that everything is fine. You do not need to act as though certain experiences never affected you. You do not need to carry the burden of appearing strong every moment of every day. You can bring your broken pieces to me. You can bring your questions to me. You can bring your disappointment, confusion, anger, and sorrow to me. Nothing about your pain scares me. Nothing about your wounds surprises me. Nothing about your struggles causes me to love you less. In fact, my beloved child, my love reaches deepest into the places where you feel most broken. There was once a beautiful vessel crafted by a skilled artisan. Over time, it developed cracks. Some people looked at it and saw only damage. They assumed its value had been lost. But the artisan saw something different. He carefully restored it. He strengthened the damaged areas. He worked with patience and precision until the vessel became beautiful once again. The cracks that once seemed like flaws became part of a story of restoration. My child, some of the areas you consider weaknesses may one day become testimonies of healing. The places where you have cried may become places of compassion. The struggles you have endured may become sources of wisdom. The pain you have survived may become evidence of strength. This does not mean I caused every wound. It means I am able to bring restoration even from what tried to harm you. Even now, healing is taking place in ways you cannot fully see. I am healing thoughts that have been shaped by fear. I am healing memories that still carry pain. I am healing beliefs that convinced you that you were not enough. I am healing disappointments that caused you to question your future. I am healing wounds that words cannot fully describe. The process may feel slow at times, but do not mistake slow healing for absent healing. Just because the work is happening beneath the surface does not mean it is not happening. A sunrise begins long before its light reaches the horizon. A flower begins growing long before anyone sees it bloom. Healing often begins long before you recognize its results. So be patient with yourself, my beloved child. Do not condemn yourself for still having difficult days. Do not lose hope because the journey is not yet complete. Do not believe the lie that you will always feel the way you feel today. You are healing. You are growing. You are becoming stronger. And as I continue restoring the hidden places within your heart, you will discover something beautiful. The wounds that once seemed permanent will no longer define your story. My love, my presence, and my restoration will. I am healing what others cannot see, and I am not finished yet. My beloved child, there is something I want you to do right now. For a moment, stop focusing on everything that demands your attention. Stop thinking about tomorrow's responsibilities, yesterday's regrets, and the pressures that seem to follow you wherever you go. Simply listen to my voice. You have been carrying weight that was never meant to rest upon your shoulders. Some of that weight comes from responsibilities. Some comes from expectations. Some comes from fear. Some comes from trying to control things that are beyond your control. Over time, these burdens have accumulated little by little until what once seemed manageable has become exhausting. You have become so accustomed to carrying heavy loads that you sometimes forget what peace feels like. You wake up thinking about problems that need solving. You go through your day carrying concerns about the future. You lie awake wondering how everything will work out. Even when your body is resting, your mind often continues working. And because this burden has become familiar, you may not even realize how much it is affecting you. But I see it. I see the pressure you place upon yourself. I see the expectations you believe you must meet. I see the fear of making mistakes. I see the anxiety that whispers that everything depends entirely on you. And I want to gently remind you of something important. You were never created to carry the entire world upon your shoulders. There was once a traveler crossing a long desert road. Determined to complete his journey, he packed a large bag with everything he thought he might need. Along the way, he continued adding more items. A stone he found interesting, supplies he might never use, objects he feared he might need someday. With each mile, the bag became heavier. Eventually, he grew exhausted. Every step became difficult. The journey that should have been meaningful became miserable because of the unnecessary weight he insisted on carrying. Then an experienced guide approached him and asked, "Why are you carrying things that are not helping you move forward?" The traveler looked at his bag and realized much of what burdened him served no purpose at all. My beloved child, many people travel through life carrying emotional bags filled with unnecessary weight. Some carry guilt from mistakes that have already been forgiven. Some carry fear about events that have not even happened. Some carry resentment from old wounds. Some carry the pressure of trying to please everyone. Some carry impossible expectations they were never meant to fulfill. And perhaps without realizing it, you have been carrying some of these burdens too. You have been carrying worries about outcomes you cannot control. You have been carrying fears about the future. You have been carrying responsibilities that belong to others. You have been carrying emotional wounds that need healing. You have been carrying questions that have no immediate answers, and all of it has been draining your strength. But listen carefully, my beloved child. Just because you have carried something for a long time does not mean you were meant to carry it forever. The burden of fear does not belong to you. The burden of constant anxiety does not belong to you. The burden of believing you must have every answer does not belong to you. The burden of trying to control every outcome does not belong to you. You are not responsible for holding together every circumstance in your life. You are not responsible for solving every problem immediately. You are not responsible for carrying the weight of tomorrow before it arrives. Many of the things that steal your peace today are things you have not been asked to carry. I know your heart. I know that much of your worry comes from caring deeply. You want things to work out. You want to protect those you love. You want to make wise decisions. You want to avoid mistakes. These desires come from a sincere heart. But somewhere along the journey, concern turned into burden. Responsibility turned into pressure. Care turned into anxiety. And now I am inviting you to release what has become too heavy. Imagine standing beside a river carrying a sack filled with stones. Every stone represents a fear, regret, a worry, or a burden. The longer you carry it, the heavier it feels. Now imagine setting it down. The river continues flowing. The world continues turning. And suddenly you remember what it feels like to stand without the weight. That is what I desire for you. Not a life without challenges, but a life where you no longer carry challenges alone. Not a life without responsibilities, but a life where responsibilities are balanced by trust. Not a life without uncertainty, but a life where uncertainty no longer steals your peace. So today, my beloved child, begin releasing what was never yours to carry. Release the fear. Release the pressure. Release the need to control every outcome. Release the belief that everything depends on you. Place those burdens into my hands. For I am stronger than your fears, greater than your worries, and more than able to carry what has exhausted you. You do not need to continue walking under a weight that was never meant to be yours. I am here, and I am ready to carry what you can no longer bear. Let your heart rest in the truth, and allow my strength to become greater than your burden. My beloved child, there are moments in life when a door closes, and the sound of it echoes through your heart for years. You remember the opportunity that slipped away. You remember the relationship that ended. You remember the dream that did not unfold as you expected. You remember the prayer that seemed to receive no answer. And because of the pain attached to that moment, you began to believe that what was lost was gone forever. You looked at the closed door and assumed the story was over. You looked at the ending and believed it was final. You looked at the disappointment and concluded that nothing good could come from it. But my beloved child, what if the closed door was not punishment? What if it was not rejection? What if it was not evidence that I had abandoned your hopes? What if it was actually protection, redirection, or preparation for something you could not yet see? Many times, You interpret closed doors through the lens of pain rather than purpose. When something does not work out, your heart naturally asks why. You search for reasons. You replay conversations. You analyze decisions. You wonder what you could have done differently. Sometimes you even blame yourself for outcomes that were never yours to control. Yet there are situations where the door closed not because you failed, but because I was guiding you toward a different path. There was once a traveler seeking a beautiful city he had heard about since childhood. He carried a map and followed what he believed was the correct road. After many days of walking, he arrived at a large gate. Certain that he had reached his destination, he approached confidently. But the gate would not open. He knocked. Nothing happened. He waited. Still nothing. Frustrated and disappointed, he sat beside the gate wondering why his journey had led him there. As the sun began to set, an elderly guide approached and asked why he was sitting alone. The traveler explained his disappointment. The guide listened carefully before pointing toward a narrow path hidden behind a row of trees. "The city you seek is not through this gate," the guide said. "The road changed long ago. This gate no longer leads where you think it does." The traveler followed the new path and eventually arrived at a destination more beautiful than he had imagined. Had the gate opened, he would have ended up somewhere entirely different. My beloved child, there have been times when you stood before closed gates and assumed they were standing between you and your blessing. What if they were actually standing between you and unnecessary pain? What if they were preventing you from walking down roads that would not have led where you hoped? What if the closed door was not the problem but part of the solution? You see only a portion of the picture. I see the entire landscape. You see today's disappointment. I see tomorrow's opportunity. You see the closed door. I see the path that remains hidden for now. This does not mean every closed door feels easy to accept. I know some of them hurt deeply. Some represented dreams you cherished. Some represented people you loved. Some represented opportunities you worked hard to reach. When those doors closed, the pain was real. The grief was real. The disappointment was real. And I never ask you to pretend otherwise. But I do ask you to trust that a closed door does not automatically mean a closed future. Your future is not determined by a single opportunity. Your purpose is not limited to one path. Your destiny is not dependent on one person's decision. I am greater than every obstacle. I am greater than every rejection. I am greater than every door that has ever closed. Even now, there may be areas of your life where you are still staring at a closed door. Part of your heart remains focused on what did not happen. You wonder if the opportunity will ever return. You wonder if things will ever make sense. My beloved child, some doors will reopen in ways you never expected. Others will remain closed because something better lies ahead. Either way, your hope must not be attached to the door itself. Your hope must remain attached to me. When your trust is placed in me, you no longer need to fear closed doors. You no longer need to panic when plans change. You no longer need to believe that one disappointment can destroy your future. I am able to create opportunities where none seem to exist. I am able to open doors no person can shut. I am able to lead you down paths you never considered. And I am able to transform what looked like rejection into redirection. So stop measuring your future by what has already closed behind you. Stop assuming that yesterday's disappointment has the authority to define tomorrow. Stop standing before old gates that no longer serve your journey. Lift your eyes, my beloved child. There are paths ahead that you have not yet discovered. There are opportunities you have not yet imagined. There are blessings moving toward you that you cannot yet see. The door you thought was closed forever does not have the final word over your life. I do. And my plans for you are still unfolding. My beloved child, there have been moments when you looked at your life and quietly wondered whether the best chapters were already behind you. You may never have spoken those words aloud, but the thought crossed your mind. After all the disappointments, delays, losses, and unexpected turns, part of you began to question whether things would ever truly change. Perhaps you have looked at certain dreams and thought maybe it is too late. Perhaps you have looked at certain situations and thought maybe this is just how things will always be. Perhaps you have faced so many challenges that hope itself has become difficult to hold on to. But listen carefully to me now. Your story is not over. The chapter you are currently living is not the conclusion. The struggle you are facing is not the final page. The pain you have endured is not the summary of your life. There is still more to be written. There is still more to be revealed. There is still more ahead than you can presently imagine. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing that a difficult chapter defines the entire story. They encounter hardship and assume the ending has already been decided. They experience disappointment and conclude that nothing good remains. They see temporary circumstances and mistake them for permanent realities. But stories are not understood from a single page. Imagine opening a book and reading only one difficult chapter. You encounter conflict, heartbreak, uncertainty, and loss. If you stopped reading there, you might assume the entire story ends in tragedy. Yet the author knows something the reader does not. There are still chapters ahead. There are still twists in the plot. There are still victories waiting to be revealed. There are still moments of healing, restoration, and redemption that have not yet occurred. My beloved child, I am the author who sees every chapter at once. You see the page you are currently standing on. I see the entire story. You see today's obstacle. I see tomorrow's breakthrough. You see the current struggle. I see the future strength it is producing. You see what appears unfinished. I see what is still being created. There was once an artist working on a magnificent painting. During the early stages, anyone looking at the canvas would have been confused. Some areas appeared incomplete. Certain colors seemed out of place. Portions of the image looked messy and unfinished. An observer might have concluded that the painting was flawed. But the artist was not concerned. He knew exactly what he was creating. Every brushstroke had purpose. Every color had meaning. Every unfinished section was part of a larger vision. As time passed, the masterpiece slowly emerged. What once looked incomplete became beautiful. What once looked chaotic became meaningful. What once seemed confusing became clear. My beloved child, there are areas of your life that currently resemble that unfinished canvas. You are looking at pieces instead of the whole picture. You are evaluating your life based on what has happened so far instead of what is still being created. You are focusing on unfinished sections while forgetting that I am still working. Do not judge your story before I have finished writing it. Do not surrender hope because one chapter has been difficult. Do not assume that current circumstances have the authority to predict your future. The challenges you face today are not evidence that I have abandoned my plans for you. In fact, many times the most significant breakthroughs occur shortly after the moments when people are most tempted to give up. The dawn arrives after the darkest part of the night. The seed breaks through the soil after a season hidden underground. The river reaches the ocean by continuing forward 1 mile at a time. And your journey continues because I am still leading you. There are lessons you have learned that will serve future chapters. There is wisdom you have gained that will help others one day. There is strength within you that was forged through difficulty. Nothing has been wasted. Not the tears, not the waiting, not the disappointments, not the setbacks, not even the moments that seemed meaningless. I am able to weave every part of your journey into something greater than you currently understand. So when discouragement whispers that nothing will change, remember my voice. When fear tells you that the opportunity has passed, remember my promise. When doubt suggests that your best days are behind you, remember who is speaking to you now. I am the one who creates new beginnings. I am the one who restores what seems lost. I am the one who opens paths where none appear to exist. And I am not finished with your story. Lift your eyes, my beloved child. Turn the page. Keep moving forward. Trust the author even when you cannot yet see the ending. For the story I am writing through your life still contains chapters of healing, chapters of growth, chapters of joy, chapters of purpose, and chapters of unexpected blessings. Your story is not over. In many ways, it is only beginning to reveal its most beautiful parts. My beloved child, there have been times when you asked me for a sign, and yet you walked past several without realizing it. You expected something dramatic. You looked for thunder, certainty, and unmistakable answers. You imagined that guidance would always arrive in ways impossible to miss. Yet many of the ways I speak are quieter than you expect. I often speak through moments that appear ordinary. I speak through unexpected peace when circumstances suggest fear. I speak through timely encouragement from someone who had no idea what you needed to hear. I speak through opportunities that arrive at precisely the right moment. I speak through doors opening and doors closing. I speak through wisdom that suddenly settles into your heart. I speak through gentle reminders that continue appearing until you finally notice them. My beloved child, one reason people miss my guidance is because they are looking too far ahead. They become so focused on future answers that they overlook present direction. They search for giant signs while ignoring the small confirmations already surrounding them. Think of a sailor navigating across the sea at night. He does not need every mile of the journey illuminated. He simply follows the light available to him. One star, one lighthouse, one visible marker is often enough to guide him safely forward. In the same way, I rarely reveal everything at once. Instead, I provide enough light for the next step, enough wisdom for today's challenge, enough strength for today's responsibility, enough grace for today's journey. Yet because you desire certainty, you sometimes dismiss these gifts as insignificant. But they are not insignificant. The fact that you are still standing after everything you have faced is a sign. The fact that hope continues rising within you despite disappointment is a sign. The fact that opportunities continue appearing even after setbacks is a sign. The fact that your heart still desires growth, healing, and purpose is a sign. The fact that you are hearing this message right now is a sign. You have been looking for evidence that I am near, while all along I have been leaving reminders of my presence throughout your journey. There were moments when an unexpected solution appeared just when you needed it. There were moments when a conversation changed your perspective. There were moments when a situation that seemed impossible somehow worked out. There were moments when you felt protected without understanding why. There were moments when strength appeared from somewhere beyond yourself. Those moments were not random. I was there. Many times, my guidance arrives like a gentle breeze rather than a powerful storm. It does not force itself upon you. It invites your attention. It waits for your awareness. It encourages you to trust even when every answer has not yet been revealed. So I want you to become more attentive. Notice the small blessings. Notice the repeated lessons. Notice the opportunities that align with peace rather than fear. Notice the wisdom that continues returning to your heart. Notice the ways I have already been leading you. The signs are often closer than you think, and as you learn to recognize them, your confidence will grow. You will begin to see that I have never stopped guiding you. You will realize that my presence has been woven throughout your journey from the very beginning. My beloved child, before we continue, I want to speak to those whose hearts are being touched by this message. If this special message has encouraged you, strengthened you, or helped you recognize my hand upon your life, know that I am using this mission to reach many weary hearts. Every seed sown through a super thanks, membership, or PayPal gift becomes part of a greater harvest of hope for souls searching for light. As I declare in my living word, give, and it shall be given unto you. And even now that promise remains alive for those who respond in faith. When you choose to support this work, you help carry messages of healing to people who may be one prayer away from giving up. My beloved child, I am inviting you to become a lamp on someone else's dark path. The PayPal donation link is available in the video description, and you can also use the QR code provided in this video. Do not see your gift as a donation. See it as seed placed into fertile ground where lives are being transformed. There are people waiting for encouragement they have not yet received, and your act of faith can help deliver it. I see every generous heart, and I bless every hand that gives with sincerity and love. Let rivers of provision flow back into your life as you help this message flow into the lives of others. Do not delay when I place generosity upon your heart. Act now, sow now, and become part of the harvest I am gathering. Now continue listening, my beloved child, because there is even more that I want to reveal to you. The signs you have been missing are beginning to come into focus, and soon you will see possibilities where you once saw limitations. My beloved child, one of the greatest challenges you face is not a lack of opportunity, a lack of ability, or even a lack of resources. Often, the greatest challenge is the limitation of what you believe is possible. Life has a way of narrowing your vision. Disappointments can do that. Failures can do that. Repeated struggles can do that. After enough setbacks, people begin expecting less from the future. They stop dreaming as boldly. They stop believing as confidently. They begin measuring tomorrow by what happened yesterday. Without realizing it, they build invisible walls around their expectations. My beloved child, I want to tear down some of those walls today. There are possibilities ahead of you that you cannot currently see. There are opportunities beyond your present understanding. There are solutions that have not yet entered your awareness. There are blessings moving toward you that would surprise you if you could see them now. The reason you struggle to recognize them is not because they do not exist. It is because your perspective has been shaped by past experiences. When people walk through difficult seasons, they often begin assuming that the future will look exactly like the past. They convince themselves that because something has not happened before, it can never happen. But I am not limited by your previous experiences. I am not restricted by your current circumstances. I am not confined by what others believe is possible. There was once a man who lived in a valley surrounded by mountains. Every day he looked around and saw the same landscape. The mountains seemed permanent. They appeared impossible to cross. Over time, he became convinced that the valley was the entire world. He built his expectations around what he could see. Then one day, a traveler arrived and told him about vast oceans, great cities, fertile fields, and beautiful lands beyond the mountains. The man struggled to believe it. How could there be more than what he had always known? Yet curiosity eventually led him to climb higher. As he reached the mountain's peak, his perspective changed completely. For the first time, he saw what had been hidden from view all along. The world was far larger than he had imagined. My beloved child, many times your circumstances resemble that valley. You have become so familiar with what is directly in front of you that you struggle to imagine anything beyond it. You see today's limitations. I see tomorrow's opportunities. You see current obstacles. I see future breakthroughs. You see closed pathways. I see roads that have not yet been revealed. This is why I often invite you to lift your eyes higher, not because your challenges are unreal, not because your struggles should be ignored, but because there is more to your story than what your current situation suggests. There may be dreams you have quietly set aside because they seemed impossible. There may be goals you stopped pursuing because progress felt too slow. There may be opportunities you no longer expect because disappointment taught you to lower your expectations. But my beloved child, I have not asked you to lower your expectations. I have asked you to trust me. Trust that what appears impossible today may become possible tomorrow. Trust that what seems distant may be closer than you realize. Trust that what appears unlikely may already be unfolding behind the scenes. Many breakthroughs begin long before they become visible. A flower begins growing before it breaks through the soil. A sunrise begins before its light reaches the horizon. A harvest begins while the seed is still hidden underground. In the same way, possibilities often begin developing before you can recognize them. That is why I do not want you to become trapped by limited thinking. Do not define your future by your current circumstances. Do not define your potential by previous failures. Do not define your worth by temporary setbacks. Do not define your destiny by what others have said about you. Your future is larger than your fears. Your purpose is greater than your doubts. Your potential extends beyond what you currently understand. Even now, I am expanding your vision. I am teaching you to look beyond immediate circumstances. I am teaching you to recognize opportunities where you once saw obstacles. I am teaching you to expect growth instead of defeat. I am teaching you to anticipate possibilities instead of limitations. Some of the greatest blessings in your life will arrive through doors you never expected. Some of the most meaningful opportunities will emerge from directions you never considered. Some of the most beautiful chapters of your story will begin in ways you could not have predicted. That is why hope remains important. Hope keeps your heart open. Hope keeps your vision clear. Hope allows you to recognize what fear often overlooks. So today, my beloved child, I invite you to lift your eyes beyond the valley. Look beyond the limitations. Look beyond the disappointments. Look beyond the fears that have tried to shrink your expectations. For I am opening your eyes to new possibilities, and what lies ahead may be far greater than anything you have imagined so far. My beloved child, if there is one question that often rises from a wounded heart, it is this: why did I have to go through that? You have asked it after disappointment. You have asked it after loss. You have asked it during seasons when life seemed unfair and circumstances felt overwhelming. You looked at your pain and searched for meaning. You looked at your struggles and wondered whether anything good could possibly come from them. I understand that question. Pain has a way of demanding answers. When your heart hurts, you naturally want to know why. When your plans fall apart, you want an explanation. When you endure a difficult season, you want to understand its purpose. But my beloved child, while I do not delight in your suffering, I want you to know something important. There are lessons hidden inside pain that are often discovered nowhere else. This does not mean every painful experience was sent to harm you for a purpose. It means that even in difficult situations, I am able to bring growth, wisdom, strength, and transformation. There was once a blacksmith who crafted beautiful swords. Visitors admired the finished products, but few understood the process behind them. Before the metal became strong and useful, it had to endure intense heat. It was placed into fire. It was shaped through pressure. It was refined through repeated challenges. If the metal could speak during that process, it might have questioned what was happening. It might have believed it was being destroyed. Yet the blacksmith knew something the metal did not. The fire was not meant to ruin it. The fire was preparing it. My beloved child, there have been seasons when you felt surrounded by fire. You experienced situations that tested your patience. You encountered disappointments that challenged your faith. You faced struggles that stretched your endurance. And in those moments, it may have felt as though life was breaking you apart. But many times, what feels like breaking is actually shaping. What feels like losing is actually teaching. What feels like hardship is actually developing strength. Look at who you are today compared to who you once were. You possess wisdom that did not exist before certain challenges entered your life. You carry compassion that was born from understanding pain. You have resilience because you survived things that once seemed impossible. You have gained perspective through experiences that forced you to grow. None of these qualities appeared by accident. They were formed through the journey. One of the hidden lessons inside pain is empathy. Before experiencing hardship, it is easy to overlook the struggles of others. But once you have walked through your own valleys, you begin noticing people who are hurting. You become more patient, more understanding, more compassionate. The wounds you survive often become the places from which you offer comfort. Another lesson hidden inside pain is dependence. There were times when your own strength seemed sufficient, but certain challenges taught you that you could not carry everything alone. They reminded you of your need for my guidance, my strength, and my presence. Pain often removes illusions of self-sufficiency and opens the door to deeper trust. Another lesson hidden inside pain is perspective. Many of the things that once seemed urgent no longer appear as important after a difficult season. Challenges have a way of clarifying priorities. They teach you what truly matters. They help you recognize blessings you may have previously overlooked. Even now, there are lessons from your past struggles that continue shaping your future. The challenge is that lessons are often easier to recognize in hindsight. When you are walking through the storm, all you see is rain. When you are climbing the mountain, all you feel is effort. When you are carrying the burden, all you notice is the weight. But later, when you look back, you begin seeing what was accomplished through the journey. You begin recognizing the strength that was developed. You begin understanding the wisdom that was gained. You begin seeing how certain experiences prepared you for future responsibilities. My beloved child, I do not want you to become trapped by your pain. I do not want your wounds to become your identity. I do not want your difficult experiences to define your future. Instead, I want you to recognize that while pain may have been part of your story, it is not the entire story. The lesson is greater than the wound. The growth is greater than the struggle. The wisdom is greater than the hardship. And the person you are becoming is stronger because of what you have overcome. So when you think about the difficult chapters of your life, you not focus only on what was lost. Also remember what was gained. Remember the courage that emerged. Remember the strength that developed. Remember the compassion that grew. Remember the wisdom that was formed. For even in your hardest seasons, my beloved child, I was working. And hidden within the pain were lessons that are helping prepare you for the beautiful chapters that still lie ahead. My beloved child, There have been seasons when your confidence slowly slipped away without you even realizing it. It did not disappear all at once. It faded through disappointments. It weakened through criticism. It was shaken by failures, delays, and moments when things did not unfold as you expected. Little by little, you began questioning yourself. You questioned your abilities. You questioned your decisions. You questioned your worth. You questioned whether you were capable of accomplishing what was placed within your heart. Perhaps there was a time when you believed more boldly. You stepped forward with excitement. You trusted your abilities. You dreamed without constantly doubting yourself. But after enough setbacks, fear began speaking louder than faith. You became more cautious, more hesitant, more uncertain. And eventually, you started seeing yourself through the lens of your struggles instead of through the truth of who you are. My beloved child, I want to restore what discouragement has tried to steal. I want to restore your confidence. Not confidence rooted in pride. Not confidence based on comparison. Not confidence dependent upon the approval of others. But confidence rooted in truth. Confidence rooted in who I created you to be. Confidence rooted in the understanding that your value has never changed. There was once a magnificent eagle raised among chickens. From the time it was young, it lived on the ground. It watched the chickens scratch through dirt and flap only a few feet into the air. Because that was all it had ever known, it assumed it was exactly the same. Years passed. The eagle never attempted to fly higher. It never tested its wings. It never explored the sky. Then one day, another eagle soared overhead. The sight awakened something deep within. For the first time, it questioned the limitations it had accepted. Slowly, it stretched its wings. Tentatively, it lifted from the ground. And eventually, it discovered that it had been created for heights it had never imagined. My beloved child, many people spend their lives living beneath their potential because they believe limitations that were never meant to define them. They listen to old criticism. They replay past failures. They allow fear to determine what they attempt. They forget who they truly are. Perhaps someone made you feel inadequate. Perhaps someone underestimated you. Perhaps circumstances convinced you that you were incapable. Perhaps mistakes caused you to doubt your future. But none of those things have the authority to define your identity. Your failures do not define you. Your fears do not define you. The opinions of others do not define you. Even your worst mistakes do not define you. I define you. And when I look at you, I do not see a collection of failures. I do not see a person who lacks value. I do not see someone who is unworthy of purpose. I see my beloved child. I see potential that has not yet fully unfolded. I see strength that is still growing. I see gifts that are still developing. I see possibilities that extend far beyond what you currently believe. One reason confidence is often lost is because people become focused on what they lack rather than what they possess. They notice every weakness. They magnify every mistake. They compare themselves to others. They focus on everything they wish were different. Meanwhile, they overlook the qualities already present within them. My beloved child, there are strengths inside you that you rarely acknowledge. There is resilience inside you. There is wisdom inside you. There is compassion inside you. There is courage inside you. There is creativity, perseverance, and determination within you. You have already survived things that once seemed impossible. You have already overcome challenges that tested your limits. You have already demonstrated strength in ways you may not fully recognize. Why then should you continue believing that you are incapable of moving forward? Confidence is not pretending to have no weaknesses. Confidence is trusting that your weaknesses do not disqualify you. Confidence is understanding that growth is still possible. Confidence is believing that your future is not limited by your past. Even now, I am restoring parts of you that discouragement tried to diminish. I am reminding you of who you are. I am reminding you of the strength you possess. I am reminding you of the purpose still ahead. I am reminding you that your journey is far from finished. Do not allow fear to speak louder than my voice. Do not allow old failures to dictate new decisions. Do not allow temporary setbacks to convince you that permanent defeat awaits you. Lift your head, my beloved child. Stand a little taller. Take the next step. Trust what I am building within you. For the confidence I am restoring is not fragile. It is not dependent on perfect circumstances. It is not built upon the approval of others. It is built upon truth. And the truth is this: you are stronger than you think, more capable than you realize, more valuable than you understand, and more prepared for what lies ahead than you currently believe. I am restoring your confidence, and as that confidence returns, you will begin seeing yourself through my eyes rather than through the shadows of your past. My beloved child, one of the greatest gifts I place within a person's journey is not an opportunity, a possession, or even a breakthrough. Often, one of the greatest gifts I provide is people. The right people can encourage you when you feel weak. The right people can remind you of truth when doubt clouds your vision. The right people can help you discover strengths you did not know you possessed. The right people can walk beside you during difficult seasons and celebrate with you during joyful ones. Yet many times, you underestimate the importance of the relationships I place in your path. You focus on destinations while overlooking companions. You focus on goals while overlooking connections. You focus on outcomes while overlooking the people who are meant to help shape your journey. My beloved child, you were never meant to walk through life completely alone. Even though there are seasons of solitude that serve a purpose, isolation was never intended to become your permanent condition. I created people to support one another, encourage one another, strengthen one another, and help one another grow. That is why I often work through human connections. Sometimes I send people who challenge you to grow. Sometimes I send people who comfort you when you are hurting. Sometimes I send people who inspire you. Sometimes I send people who teach you important lessons. And sometimes I send people who simply remind you that you are not alone. Here was once a traveler crossing a vast wilderness. He carried enough supplies for the journey and believed he could reach his destination entirely on his own. At first, everything went well. But as the journey continued, obstacles appeared. The terrain became difficult. The weather became unpredictable. The traveler grew tired. One day he encountered another traveler walking the same road. Together they shared knowledge, encouragement, resources, and companionship. What had seemed overwhelming alone became manageable together. The journey itself did not become shorter, but it became lighter. My beloved child, many burdens become easier to carry when shared with the right people. That is one reason I often place individuals in your life at precisely the right time. Sometimes they arrive unexpectedly. Sometimes they enter quietly. Sometimes they appear through circumstances you never anticipated. Yet their presence becomes significant because they carry something you need in that season. Perhaps it is wisdom. Perhaps it is encouragement. Perhaps it is perspective. Perhaps it is friendship. Perhaps it is accountability. Whatever the gift may be, it serves a purpose. But I also want you to understand something important. Not every person who enters your life is meant to remain forever. Some relationships are seasonal. Some people are assigned to specific chapters. Some arrive to teach lessons. Some arrive to help you heal. Some arrive to guide you through transitions. And once their role is complete, the relationship changes. When this happens, many people assume something has gone wrong. They grieve the ending and overlook the purpose that was fulfilled. As seasons change in nature, relationships often change throughout life. This does not diminish their value. It simply reflects the reality that every chapter has different needs. My beloved child, there may be relationships you are still grieving. There may be people whose absence still hurts. There may be connections you hoped would last forever. I understand that pain, but I also want you to trust that I am able to provide exactly what you need in every season. The ending of one relationship does not mean you have been abandoned. The closing of one chapter does not mean you will walk alone forever. Even now, there are people I am positioning within your future. There are conversations that have not yet happened. There are friendships that have not yet begun. There are mentors you have not yet met. There are individuals whose lives will intersect with yours in meaningful ways. And just as importantly, there are people whose lives will be blessed because of you. You often think about the people you need, but have you considered that someone else may need what you carry? Someone may need your encouragement. Someone may need your wisdom. Someone may need your compassion. Someone may need your testimony. Someone may need the strength that was developed through your own struggles. Relationships are not only about receiving, they are also about giving. The comfort you receive becomes comfort you share. The wisdom you gain becomes wisdom you offer. The kindness shown to you becomes kindness you extend. That is how lives become connected in meaningful ways. So I want you to remain open, my beloved child. Do not allow past disappointments to close your heart. Do not allow previous betrayals to convince you that every relationship will bring pain. Do not allow fear to prevent new connections from forming. Instead, trust me. Trust my ability to guide the right people into your life. Trust my ability to remove relationships that no longer serve your growth. Trust my ability to provide companionship, encouragement, and support when you need it most. For I am always working through people. Sometimes the answer to a prayer arrives through a conversation. Sometimes the encouragement you need arrives through a friend. Sometimes the guidance you seek arrives through someone I have carefully placed in your path. And even now, my beloved child, I am arranging connections that will help shape the beautiful chapters that still lie ahead of you. My beloved child, there are times when you look at yourself and see only your struggles. You notice the moments when you felt afraid. You remember the times when you doubted yourself. You focus on the seasons when you felt exhausted, uncertain, or overwhelmed. Because of this, you sometimes underestimate the strength that already exists within you. You see your weaknesses. I see your resilience. You see the battles that tired you. I see the courage that carried you through them. You see the wounds. I see the healing. You see how far you still want to go. I see how far you have already come. My beloved child, one of the greatest misconceptions people have about strength is believing that strong people never feel fear, never experience doubt, and never struggle. But true strength is not the absence of difficulty. True strength is continuing forward despite difficulty. Strength is taking another step when the road feels long. Strength is choosing hope when disappointment has visited your heart. Strength is getting up again after a setback. Strength is believing there is still purpose ahead, even when you cannot fully see it. Many times, you have demonstrated this kind of strength without even recognizing it. Think about the challenges you have already survived. Think about the seasons that once seemed impossible. Think about the days when you believed you could not endure any more pressure, yet somehow you made it through. At the time, you may have felt weak, but the fact that you continued moving forward revealed a strength deeper than you realized. There was once a young oak tree growing on the edge of a cliff. Year after year, powerful winds struck against it. Storms bent its branches. Harsh weather tested its endurance. From a distance, some people assumed the tree would never survive. Yet something remarkable was happening beneath the surface. Every storm forced the roots to grow deeper. Every challenge strengthened its foundation. Every difficult season increased its ability to withstand the next one. Years later, the oak stood stronger than any of the trees that had grown in sheltered places. The storms had not destroyed it. They had strengthened it. My beloved child, some of the storms you faced have done the same for you. The challenges were not pleasant. The lessons were not easy. The journey was not always comfortable. But through those experiences, something powerful developed within you. Patience grew where impatience once lived. Wisdom grew where uncertainty once dominated. Resilience grew where discouragement once tried to take root. Strength grew where weakness once seemed overwhelming. Many people assume strength appears suddenly, but strength is usually built gradually. It is built through ordinary moments, through difficult choices, through repeated perseverance, through refusing to give up. Every time you kept moving forward, when quitting would have been easier, you were becoming stronger. Every time you chose faith over fear, you were becoming stronger. Every time you faced disappointment without allowing it to define you, you were becoming stronger. Even now, there are qualities within you that you rarely acknowledge. You possess endurance. You possess determination. You possess compassion. You possess wisdom earned through experience. You possess the ability to recover from setbacks. You possess the ability to adapt and grow. These are not small things. They are evidence of strength. My beloved child, I know there are still moments when you feel tired. There are still situations that challenge your confidence. There are still days when uncertainty tries to cloud your vision. But feeling tired does not mean you are weak. Feeling uncertain does not mean you are incapable. Feeling challenged does not mean you are unprepared. Sometimes even the strongest traveler needs rest. Sometimes even the bravest heart needs encouragement. Sometimes even the wisest person needs reassurance. And that is why I am speaking to you now. I want you to stop measuring your strength by your emotions in a single moment. Do not decide that you are weak simply because today feels difficult. Do not conclude that you are incapable because the challenge appears large. Do not underestimate yourself because progress seems slow. Instead, remember your journey. Remember what you have already overcome. Remember the obstacles that once appeared impossible. Remember the storms you survived. Remember the lessons you learned. Remember the growth that has taken place. The evidence of your strength is already present. You simply need to recognize it. And there is something else I want you to understand. The strength within you is not something you must carry alone. As you continue forward, my strength will continue supporting yours. When your energy feels limited, I will provide endurance. When your courage feels small, I will provide encouragement. When your vision becomes clouded, I will provide guidance. You do not walk this journey by yourself. So lift your head, my beloved child. Stand firmly. Trust what has been developed within you. Trust what I have been building through every season. For you are far stronger than you realize, and the same strength that carried you through previous chapters will help carry you into the beautiful chapters that still await you. The road ahead may contain new challenges, but it also contains new victories, and you are more prepared for them than you know. My beloved child, every season of your life carries lessons. Some lessons arrive during times of joy and celebration. Others arrive through challenges, waiting periods, and unexpected detours. Yet one thing remains true. No season is empty when I am involved in it. Even now, in this very chapter of your journey, I am teaching you something valuable. The challenge is that lessons are often difficult to recognize while they are still unfolding. When a student sits in a classroom, they may not immediately understand why certain subjects matter. The purpose becomes clear later when the knowledge is needed. In the same way, many of the lessons I am teaching you today will reveal their full value in seasons that have not yet arrived. That is why I want you to stop viewing your current season as merely something to endure. Instead, begin asking a different question. Rather than asking, "When will this season end?" ask, "What is this season teaching me?" That question has the power to transform your perspective. My beloved child, one of the lessons I may be teaching you right now is patience. Patience is not simply waiting. Patience is maintaining peace while you wait. Many people can wait because they have no choice. But true patience develops when you continue trusting despite uncertainty. I know that waiting is not easy. You want answers. You want clarity. You want movement. You want progress. Yet there are certain things that can only be learned through seasons that unfold gradually. A seed cannot become a tree overnight. A sunrise cannot be rushed. A masterpiece cannot be completed in a single brushstroke. In the same way, some areas of your life require time. And while you wait, patience grows. Another lesson I may be teaching you is trust. Trust becomes strongest when certainty is absent. It is easy to trust when every answer is visible. It is easy to trust when circumstances are favorable. It is easy to trust when the path ahead is clear. But deeper trust develops when you continue moving forward despite unanswered questions. There have been moments when you could not see the next chapter. There have been times when you did not know how things would work out. Yet you continued. Even if your steps felt small, even if your confidence felt limited, even if your faith seemed fragile, you continued. And through that process, trust has been growing. Another lesson I may be teaching you is endurance. Endurance is not dramatic. It is often quiet. It appears in ordinary decisions. It appears when you choose not to quit. It appears when you keep showing up. It appears when you remain faithful during difficult seasons. Many people admire strength without realizing that endurance is one of the foundations upon which strength is built. My beloved child, every challenge you have faced has given you opportunities to develop endurance. And because of that, you are capable of far more than you once believed. I may also be teaching you discernment. Not every opportunity is meant for you. Not every path is your path. Not every voice deserves your attention. One reason certain seasons feel confusing is because I am helping you learn the difference between what merely looks appealing and what truly aligns with your purpose. Discernment protects you from unnecessary detours. It helps you recognize what deserves your energy. It helps you focus on what truly matters. And perhaps most importantly, I am teaching you dependence upon me. This lesson is often misunderstood. Some people view dependence as weakness, but dependence upon me creates strength. When you recognize that you do not need to carry every burden alone, peace begins to grow. When you stop trying to control every outcome, freedom begins to grow. When you trust my guidance more than your fears, confidence begins to grow. Many of the struggles you have faced have gently led you toward this understanding. Not because I wanted you to suffer, but because I wanted you to discover that my presence is sufficient even when circumstances remain uncertain. There was once a young sailor learning to navigate the sea. At first, he depended entirely on calm weather. If the waters became rough, fear overtook him. But over time, his instructor taught him something important. The goal was not to avoid every storm. The goal was to learn how to navigate through them. Eventually, the sailor gained confidence, not because storms disappeared, but because he learned how to travel through them. My beloved child, some of the lessons I am teaching you right now are preparing you for future seasons. The patience you are learning will help you handle future opportunities wisely. The trust you are developing will help you face future challenges confidently. The endurance you are building will help you continue when others would stop. The discernment you are gaining will help you make wise decisions. Nothing is being wasted. Every lesson has purpose. Every challenge carries potential growth. Every season contains value. So do not rush through this chapter of your life. Do not dismiss it as meaningless. Do not focus only on reaching the next destination. Pay attention to what I am teaching you now. For one day, my beloved child, you will look back and realize that some of the most important lessons of your life were learned during the very season you once wished would end. And because of those lessons, you will be prepared for blessings, opportunities, and responsibilities far greater than you can presently imagine. My beloved child, there are dreams within your heart that you rarely speak about anymore. Once, they brought excitement to your spirit. Once, they filled your thoughts with possibility. Once, they inspired you to imagine a future larger than your present circumstances. But time passed. Challenges appear. Disappointments accumulated. And little by little, those dreams were pushed into quiet corners of your heart. Perhaps you stopped talking about them because you became tired of explaining them. Perhaps you stopped pursuing them because progress felt too slow. Perhaps you stopped believing in them because life seemed determined to move in a different direction. Yet even if you have forgotten some of those dreams, I have not. I remember every desire that was planted within you. I remember every hope you carried. I remember every prayer connected to those dreams. I remember every moment you imagined what could be. Nothing has escaped my attention. My beloved child, one of the greatest mistakes people make is assuming that a delayed dream is a dead dream. When enough time passes without visible progress, they begin convincing themselves that the opportunity is gone forever. They look at the distance between where they are and where they hope to be, and they conclude that it can never happen. But timing and abandonment are not the same thing. Waiting and forgetting are not the same thing. Delay and denial are not the same thing. There was once a gardener who planted seeds throughout a large field. Some seeds sprouted quickly. Within a short time, green shoots appeared above the soil. But one particular seed seemed different. Days passed. Weeks passed. And nothing appeared. The gardener's neighbors assumed the seed had failed. They wondered why he continued watering an empty patch of ground. Yet the gardener remained patient. What nobody could see was that beneath the surface, an extensive root system was developing. The growth was happening underground. Months later, the seed finally broke through the soil. In time, it became the strongest tree in the entire field. Its delayed appearance was not evidence of failure. It was evidence of deeper preparation. My beloved child, some dreams require deeper preparation. Some desires require greater development. Some purposes require foundations that cannot be rushed. This is why I need you to stop measuring every dream by human timelines. You often compare your journey to the journeys of others, You see their progress and wonder why your own path looks different. You see their achievements and question your own timing. You see what is happening in their lives and begin doubting what I am doing in yours. But comparison has a way of stealing peace. The oak tree does not compare itself to the flower. The river does not compare itself to the mountain. Each fulfills its purpose according to its design. In the same way, your journey is unique. Your timing is unique. Your preparation is unique. What I am building in your life does not need to resemble what I am building in someone else's. There are dreams you thought were impossible because circumstances changed. There are goals you abandoned because obstacles appeared. There are hopes you quietly buried because disappointment convinced you they would never become reality. But I want you to listen carefully. Not every dream should be resurrected. Some dreams belong to earlier chapters and serve their purpose. However, there are other dreams that still carry life within them. There are desires that continue stirring your heart whenever you think about them. Your callings that refuse to disappear despite the passing years. There are visions that continue returning because they remain connected to your purpose. When something continues speaking to your heart through multiple seasons, do not dismiss it too quickly. Sometimes those persistent dreams are reminders of unfinished chapters. Sometimes they are invitations to believe again. Sometimes they are evidence that my plans are still moving beneath the surface. My beloved child, I know there are moments when disappointment has made hope feel risky. You fear believing again because you do not want to be hurt again. You fear expecting too much because you have experienced unmet expectations before. You fear dreaming boldly because you know what disappointment feels like. But hope is not your enemy. Dreaming is not foolish. Believing is not weakness. The fact that a dream has not happened yet does not mean it never will. Even now, I am working in ways you cannot fully see. I am arranging circumstances. I am shaping character. I am opening paths. I am aligning opportunities. I am preparing connections. I am doing things beyond your current awareness. And one day, many pieces that now seem unrelated will come together in ways that surprise you. That is why I want you to guard your heart against hopelessness. Do not allow temporary delays to become permanent conclusions. Do not allow discouragement to silence what I have placed within you. Do not assume that because something has taken longer than expected, it has been forgotten. I have not forgotten. I remember every prayer. I remember every hope. I remember every promise. I remember every dream that still aligns with the purpose I have for your life. So today, my beloved child, allow yourself to believe again. Not recklessly, not blindly, but faithfully. Trust that what I have not forgotten still matters. Trust that preparation is still taking place. Trust that some of the dreams you thought were lost may simply be waiting for the right season to bloom. For the dreams I have not forgotten are still part of the story I am writing through your life, and their time may be closer than you think. My beloved child, there are moments in life when you stand before a situation that seems impossible. No matter how carefully you examine it, you cannot see a solution. You look in every direction and find obstacles. You search for answers and encounter uncertainty. You pray, you hope, you wait, and yet the challenge remains standing in front of you like an immovable mountain. Perhaps you are facing one of those mountains right now. Perhaps there is a situation that keeps returning to your thoughts. Perhaps there is a burden that feels too heavy. Perhaps there is a problem that appears beyond your ability to solve. If so, I want you to listen closely. What appears impossible to you is not impossible to me. The limits that define human understanding do not define my ability. The barriers that stop human effort do not stop my power. The obstacles that seem permanent from your perspective do not prevent me from creating a path forward. My beloved child, one reason people lose hope is because they become convinced that if they cannot see a solution, then no solution exists. But your ability to see an answer is not what creates the answer. Many times, I am already working on solutions before you become aware of them. There was once a traveler who reached the edge of a vast canyon. Looking ahead, he saw no bridge and no visible route to the other side. The cliffs stretched in both directions. The gap appeared impossible to cross. The traveler sat down in despair. He assumed the journey had ended. But what he did not know was that just beyond the bend of the canyon, hidden from his view, there was a pathway descending safely into the valley and rising on the other side. The path existed. The solution existed. The traveler simply could not see it from where he stood. My beloved child, there are situations in your life that resemble that canyon. You have looked at them repeatedly. You have analyzed every detail. You have searched for answers. Yet because you cannot currently see a path forward, you have begun questioning whether one exists. But I want you to remember something. Your perspective is limited. Mine is not. You see one moment. I see the entire journey. You see today's challenge. I see tomorrow's breakthrough. You see the obstacle. I see the pathway. You see the closed space between where you are and where you want to be. I see every step necessary to bring you there. Many of the miracles people hope for begin quietly. They do not always arrive with immediate fanfare. Sometimes they begin through small changes. A conversation, an opportunity, a new idea, a shift in perspective, a venerian. A door opening at precisely the right moment. At first, these developments may appear insignificant, yet they become part of a larger answer unfolding over time. That is why I want you to be careful not to underestimate small beginnings. A river begins as a small stream. A mighty tree begins as a seed. A great journey begins with a single step. And many breakthroughs begin through developments that seem ordinary at first. My beloved child, I know there are areas where you have become discouraged. You have prayed repeatedly. You have waited patiently. You have hoped for change. And because the answer has not arrived in the way you expected, discouragement has tried to settle into your heart. But discouragement often appears just before perspective changes. When darkness is deepest, dawn is often closer than it seems. When winter feels longest, spring may already be approaching. When a seed remains hidden underground, growth may already be taking place. The same is true for many of the situations you face. Just because you cannot see movement does not mean movement is absent. Just because progress is hidden does not mean progress has stopped. Just because the answer has not appeared does not mean I am not working. Even now, I am arranging things you cannot yet see. I am opening paths beyond your awareness. I am creating opportunities beyond your current understanding. I am preparing outcomes that exceed your expectations. And while these things unfold, I am also strengthening you. Because sometimes the greatest miracle is not merely the changing of circumstances. Sometimes the greatest miracle is the transformation that occurs within a person while they wait. Faith grows. Patience grows. Trust grows. Wisdom grows. Character grows. And these qualities become valuable long after the challenge has passed. So I do not want you to focus solely on the size of the obstacle. Do not measure your future by the mountain in front of you. Do not allow visible challenges to become greater than invisible possibilities. Instead, remember who is speaking to you. I am the one who creates roads through wilderness. I am the one who provides direction when confusion surrounds you. I am the one who opens doors that seem permanently closed. I am the one who specializes in situations that appear impossible. Therefore, lift your eyes, my beloved child. Look beyond the mountain. Look beyond the fear. Look beyond the uncertainty. Trust that a pathway exists even when you cannot yet see it. Trust that solutions are being formed even while questions remain. Trust that I am already at work. For the impossible situation standing before you today is not greater than my wisdom, my power, or my love. And in ways you cannot yet fully understand, I am already making a way through what once seemed impossible. My beloved child, there are moments on every journey when strength feels difficult to find. There are seasons when your heart becomes weary, your mind becomes exhausted, and your spirit feels drained from carrying burdens for too long. You continue moving forward, but each step requires more effort than the one before. Perhaps you know that feeling. Perhaps there have been days when simply getting through the day felt like an accomplishment. Perhaps there have been nights when you lay awake wondering how much longer you could keep carrying what you were carrying. Perhaps there have been moments when you smiled for others while privately feeling completely worn out. If that is where you find yourself, I want you to hear my voice clearly. You do not need to pretend to be strong all the time. You do not need to hide your weariness from me. You do not need to carry every burden in silence. I already know where your strength feels depleted. I already know where your heart feels tired. I already know the places where discouragement has tried to settle. And I am not disappointed by your weakness. In fact, some of your most important encounters with me occur when you finally stop pretending that you can do everything on your own. There was once a traveler crossing a long mountain range. In the beginning, he moved quickly. His energy was high. His confidence was strong. He believed he could conquer every hill through determination alone. But as the journey continued, the mountains became steeper. The days became longer. The weight of his pack became heavier. Eventually, exhaustion overtook him. He sat beside the path, convinced that he could go no farther. At that moment, an experienced guide approached and sat beside him. The guide did not criticize him for being tired. The guide did not demand that he continue immediately. Instead, he offered water, rest, encouragement, and direction. After recovering his strength, the traveler continued the journey with renewed energy. My beloved child, many times you imagine that I respond to your exhaustion with frustration. But that is not my heart toward you. When you are weary, I move closer. When you feel overwhelmed, I offer comfort. When you feel weak, I provide strength. When you feel uncertain, I provide guidance. I am not standing far away demanding perfection. I am walking beside you. One reason people become exhausted is because they attempt to carry responsibilities that were never intended for them. They carry tomorrow's worries before tomorrow arrives. They carry guilt from yesterday. They carry the expectations of others. They carry fears about outcomes they cannot control. Eventually, the weight becomes overwhelming. My beloved child, you were never designed to carry all of that alone. Even the strongest hearts need rest. Even the bravest souls need renewal. Even the most determined individuals need moments of recovery. Rest is not weakness. Rest is wisdom. Rest is not failure. Rest is preparation. A field that never rests eventually loses its ability to produce. A lamp that never receives oil eventually loses its light. A traveler who never pauses eventually collapses from exhaustion. In the same way, your heart requires renewal. Your spirit requires restoration. Your mind requires peace. This is why I invite you to release the pressure of believing that you must always be productive, always be strong, and always have everything figured out. You are human. You are growing. You are learning. And growth includes moments of rest. There are times when you judge yourself harshly because you feel tired. You assume that your exhaustion means you are failing. You believe that needing help is a sign of weakness. You become frustrated because you cannot do everything at once. But my beloved child, needing strength does not make you weak. It makes you human. And it creates space for my strength to meet you where your own strength ends. Think about how many times you have already survived situations that once seemed impossible. Think about the challenges you believed would defeat you. Think about the burdens you thought were too heavy. Yet somehow, step by step, you made it through. Not because you were strong every moment, but because I sustained you through moments when your strength was limited. The same will be true now. The challenge you face today is not greater than the help available to you. The weariness you feel today is not permanent. The exhaustion you carry today is not the end of your story. There is renewal ahead. There is strength ahead. There is peace ahead. But first, I want you to stop fighting your weakness and begin bringing it to me. Bring me your tired thoughts. Bring me your worries. Bring me your discouragement. Bring me your fears. Bring me the burdens you no longer know how to carry. You do not have to clean yourself up before coming to me. You do not have to become strong before receiving strength. You simply need to come. My beloved child, when you feel too weak to continue, remember this. Your journey does not depend entirely upon your own strength. My strength is available to you. My peace is available to you. My presence is available to you. And when your own strength feels small, mine remains more than enough. So rest for a moment. Breathe deeply. Release the weight. And trust that I will provide exactly what you need for the next step of the journey ahead. My beloved child, when people think about breakthrough, they often imagine a dramatic moment. They picture someone chained. They imagine doors swinging open, obstacles disappearing, and answers arriving all at once. While breakthroughs can sometimes happen that way, there is a deeper truth I want you to understand. Many breakthroughs begin long before circumstances change. They begin within the heart. They begin with trust. Before a door opens, trust is often being developed. Before a mountain moves, trust is often growing. Before the answer arrives, trust is often taking root. And because trust develops in unseen places, many people overlook how important it truly is. My beloved child, trust is not merely believing that everything will happen exactly as you want it to happen. Trust is believing that even when things do not unfold according to your expectations, I remain faithful. Trust is choosing peace when uncertainty surrounds you. Trust is continuing forward when answers have not yet appeared. Trust is refusing to allow fear to become your guide. Trust is resting in my wisdom when your own understanding feels limited. There was once a traveler who came to the edge of a wide river. The water was deep and the current was strong. He needed to reach the other side, but there was no bridge in sight. As he stood there wondering what to do, an experienced guide approached. The guide pointed toward a narrow path of stones hidden just beneath the surface of the water. Only a few stones were visible from where the traveler stood. He could not see the entire crossing. He could only see the first few steps. The traveler hesitated. What if the path disappears? He asked. What if I cannot see where it leads? The guide smiled and replied, You do not need to see the entire path. You only need to trust enough to take the next step. With uncertainty still in his heart, the traveler stepped onto the first stone, then the second, then the third. With every step, new stones became visible. Eventually, he reached the other side. The path had been there all along, but it only revealed itself as he moved forward. My beloved child, many situations in your life resemble that river. You want to see the entire journey before taking the first step. You want complete certainty before moving forward. You want every answer before making a decision. But often, I reveal the path gradually, not because I want to frustrate you, not because I enjoy keeping you in uncertainty, but because trust grows when you learn to follow me one step at a time. One reason fear becomes so powerful is because it constantly demands guarantees. Fear says, what if it does not work out? Fear says, what if something goes wrong? Fear says, what if you fail? Fear focuses your attention on possibilities that have not happened and may never happen. Trust does something different. Trust says, even if I cannot see everything, I am not walking alone. Trust says, even if I do not understand the entire plan, I believe there is purpose ahead. Trust says, even if circumstances remain uncertain, I know I am being guided. My beloved child, there have already been many times in your life when trust carried you farther than certainty ever could. Think about the opportunities you embraced without knowing exactly how everything would unfold. Think about the challenges you survived despite not knowing how you would overcome them. Think about the seasons when you kept moving forward even though the future appeared unclear. In those moments, trust was already at work. And because trust was present, progress became possible. The breakthrough you seek is connected to this principle. Not because trust earns blessings, not because trust forces outcomes, but because trust positions your heart to move forward instead of remaining trapped by fear. Fear keeps people standing at the riverbank. Fear focuses on obstacles. Trust focuses on possibilities. Fear magnifies uncertainty. Trust magnifies faithfulness. Even now, there may be areas of your life where you are waiting for certainty before moving forward. Perhaps you are waiting for every question to be answered. Perhaps you are waiting for every fear to disappear. Perhaps you are waiting for perfect conditions. But perfect conditions rarely arrive. Growth happens while questions remain. Progress happens while uncertainty exists. Breakthrough begins when trust becomes greater than fear. This does not mean you will never feel afraid. It means fear no longer controls your decisions. It means uncertainty no longer steals your peace. It means challenges no longer determine your direction. My beloved child, I am inviting you to trust me more deeply than before. Trust my timing. Trust my guidance. Trust my wisdom. Trust my ability to work beyond what you can currently see. The path ahead may not be fully visible. The river may still seem wide. The questions may not all be answered. But the breakthrough you seek is already beginning. It begins with trust. It begins with the next step. It begins with the decision to believe that I am leading you, even when you cannot yet see the entire road. And as that trust grows, you will discover that many of the things you once feared were standing between you and your future were actually preparing you to walk into it with greater faith, greater peace, and greater confidence than ever before. My beloved child, one of the most difficult parts of growth is not gaining something new. It is letting go something old. Many people eagerly welcome new blessings, new opportunities, and new beginnings. But far fewer are comfortable with the process that often comes before them. They do not realize that in order to make room for what is ahead, certain things must first be released. This is why some seasons feel confusing. You sense that change is happening. You feel that something is shifting. Yet instead of immediately receiving what is next, you first experience loss, transition, or separation. And because you cannot yet see the purpose behind it, you begin wondering whether something has gone wrong. But my beloved child, sometimes what feels like loss is actually preparation. Sometimes what feels like subtraction is actually protection. Sometimes what feels like an ending is making room for a beginning. There was once a gardener who cared for a beautiful vineyard. Every year he carefully examined each vine. To an untrained observer, the vines appeared healthy and productive. Yet the gardener noticed something others could not see. Certain branches were no longer helping the vine grow. They consumed energy, but produced little fruit. So the gardener began pruning. He removed branches that seemed perfectly fine to those watching from a distance. If the vines could have spoken, they might have questioned the process. They might have wondered why something was being removed. They might have assumed the gardener was harming them. But the gardener understood what they could not. The pruning was not punishment. The pruning was preparation for greater growth. My beloved child, there are areas of your life where I am gently pruning. Not because I desire to hurt you, not because I am taking pleasure in your discomfort, but because I can see what is helping you grow and what is holding you back. Sometimes I remove unhealthy habits. Sometimes I remove limiting beliefs. Sometimes I remove distractions. Sometimes I remove relationships that have completed their purpose. Sometimes I remove opportunities that would lead you away from your true path. And while these changes may feel painful in the moment, they are often acts of love. One reason people struggle with letting go is because they become attached to familiarity. Even when something is no longer helping them grow, it feels comfortable because it is familiar. A familiar burden can feel safer than an unfamiliar blessing. A familiar struggle can feel easier than stepping into change. A familiar limitation can feel more predictable than new possibilities. Yet growth often requires courage. It requires trusting that what is being removed is making room for something better. My beloved child, there may be beliefs you need to release. Perhaps you still carry the belief that you are not enough. Perhaps you still carry fears rooted in old disappointments. Perhaps you still carry assumptions based on past failures. These beliefs may have been with you for a long time, but longevity does not make them true. And if they no longer serve your growth, they must be released. There may also be wounds you are still carrying, not because you want to, but because pain became familiar. You learn to protect yourself. You learn to expect disappointment. You learn to keep your hopes small. Yet those protective walls that once served a purpose may now be preventing healing. Sometimes what protected you in one season limits you in the next. This is why I invite you to trust my process. Trust that I know what belongs in your future. Trust that I know what no longer belongs. Trust that I can see what you cannot yet see. There are things you have lost that you still grieve. I understand that grief. I understand the questions. I understand the moments when you wondered why certain chapters ended. But I also see what those endings created space for. I see the growth that followed. I see the wisdom that developed. I see the opportunities that became possible. I see the freedom that emerged. You often focus on what was removed. I see what is being prepared. My beloved child, imagine trying to fill a cup that is already overflowing with old water. No matter how pure the new water may be, there is no room for it until the cup is emptied. In the same way, there are blessings, opportunities, and experiences that require space. Space in your schedule. Space in your thinking. Space in your heart. Space in your life. And sometimes creating that space requires letting go. Not everything that leaves your life is a loss. Some things leave because their purpose had been fulfilled. Some things leave because they cannot accompany you into the next chapter. Some things leave because I am guiding you towards something greater. So do not fear the pruning process. Do not fear the transitions. Do not fear the changes that seem uncomfortable. Instead, trust that I am working with wisdom and love. Trust that I know what belongs in your future. Trust that every removal serves a purpose. For I am not taking away what is necessary. I am removing what no longer serves you. And as I do, I am creating room for growth, healing, opportunity, peace, and purpose far beyond what you can currently imagine. What I am preparing for you requires space. And even now, my beloved child, I am lovingly making that space within your life. My beloved child, there are times when the future appears unclear. You look ahead and see unanswered questions. You notice challenges that still need solutions. You recognize responsibilities that feel overwhelming. And because so much remains uncertain, it becomes easy to imagine the worst instead of expecting the best. Fear has a way of doing that. It takes a small uncertainty and turns it into a large concern. It takes a temporary difficulty and presents it as a permanent reality. It takes an unanswered question and convinces you that no answer will ever come. Little by little, fear attempts to paint a picture of the future that is darker than the truth. But my beloved child, I want you to hear my voice above every fearful thought. Your future is brighter than you think. Not because every challenge will disappear. Not because every day will be perfect. Not because there will never be obstacles. But because I am already present in the future you cannot yet see. You often worry about tomorrow as though you will face it alone. You imagine future problems without remembering future grace. You anticipate future challenges without considering future strength. You think about future obstacles without recognizing future opportunities. Yet the same presence that has carried you through every previous chapter will continue carrying you through the chapters ahead. There was once a young traveler preparing to cross a mountain range. Standing at the base of the mountains, he felt intimidated by their size. The peaks seemed impossibly high. The distance seemed too great. Looking upward, he became convinced that the journey would be far more difficult than he could handle. An older guide noticed his concern and asked what troubled him. The traveler pointed toward the mountains and explained his fears. The guide smiled and replied, "You are trying to carry the entire journey while still standing at the beginning of it." The traveler did not understand. The guide continued, "You only need enough strength for today's step. Tomorrow's strength will arrive tomorrow." My beloved child, many times you do the same thing. You try to carry tomorrow's burdens today. You attempt to solve future problems before they exist. You become anxious about situations that have not yet happened. And in doing so, you rob yourself of peace in the present moment. The future was never meant to be carried all at once. It unfolds one day at a time, one step at a time, one chapter at a time. This is why I want you to stop viewing your future through the lens of fear. Fear is a poor storyteller. It constantly predicts endings that never arrive. It focuses on what could go wrong while ignoring what could go right. It magnifies obstacles while minimizing possibilities. My beloved child, there are blessings ahead that fear cannot see. There are opportunities ahead that fear cannot imagine. There are relationships ahead that fear cannot predict. There are breakthroughs ahead that fear cannot comprehend. And there is growth ahead that fear cannot prevent. Even now, while you are concerned about certain situations, I am already preparing answers. While you are worrying about future needs, I am already aware of them. While you are wondering how things will work out, I am already working. That does not mean every future event will unfold according to your exact expectations. Life remains filled with surprises, but it does mean that you do not need to face the future with dread. You can face it with hope. There is a difference. Hope does not deny reality. Hope simply refuses to believe that difficulty has the final word. Hope acknowledges challenges while still expecting possibility. Hope recognizes uncertainty while remaining open to blessings. Hope sees the clouds but remembers the sun still exists beyond them. My beloved child, one reason I want you to embrace hope is because hope changes how you walk through life. People who expect only disappointment often stop noticing opportunities. People who assume failure is inevitable often stop trying. People who believe nothing good awaits them often overlook blessings that are already approaching. But hope keeps your eyes open. Hope keeps your heart receptive. Hope keeps your spirit prepared for what is possible. And there is much that is possible. There are chapters of joy you have not yet experienced. There are moments of healing you have not yet witnessed. There are dreams still waiting to unfold. There are prayers still moving toward their answers. There are relationships still waiting to be formed. There are opportunities still waiting to appear. A story is not finished. A future remains unwritten. And because I am involved in your journey, possibility remains alive. So when fear tries to convince you that tomorrow will only repeat yesterday's disappointments, remember my words. When doubt tries to darken your vision, remember my promises. When uncertainty tempts you to expect the worst, remember who is guiding your steps. I am already present in the future you cannot yet see. I know every challenge. I know every opportunity. I know every detail. And because I know the road ahead, I can confidently tell you this. Your future is brighter than you think. Keep moving forward, my beloved child. Keep believing. Keep trusting. For some of the most beautiful chapters of your life are still waiting just beyond the horizon, and they are closer than you realize. My beloved child, there are questions within your heart that you do not always speak aloud. Some of them emerge during quiet moments when no one else is around. Some appear in the middle of the night when your mind is searching for answers. Some have followed you through multiple seasons, returning again and again because they remain unresolved. You have asked questions about your future. You have asked questions about your purpose. You have asked questions about relationships, opportunities, timing, and direction. You have wondered whether certain prayers will ever be answered. You have wondered why some doors opened while others remained closed. You have wondered whether you are truly moving in the right direction. And sometimes, my beloved child, you have wondered whether anyone fully understands the concerns you carry. I do. Before a question ever reaches your lips, I already know it. Before a worry fully forms in your mind, I already see it. Before a fear grows large enough to trouble your heart, I am already aware of it. Nothing about your inner world is hidden from me. There was once a young student who carried a notebook filled with questions. Whenever something confused him, he wrote it down. Over time, the notebook became full. Some questions were simple. Others were complex. Some remained unanswered for years. One day, he showed the notebook to his teacher and asked, "Will I ever understand all of these things?" The teacher smiled and replied, "Some answers will come through study. Some will come through experience. Some will come through time. But many answers cannot be understood before the right season arrives." The student initially found this frustrating. He wanted every answer immediately. Yet as the years passed, he noticed something remarkable. Many questions that once seemed impossible to understand became clear through the journey itself. The answers arrived as he grew. My beloved child, many of your questions are connected to timing. You want understanding now. You want clarity now. You want certainty now. And I understand that desire. But there are some answers that can only be understood through experience. Some truths reveal themselves gradually. Some lessons become clear only after enough time has passed to see the larger picture. This is one reason patience remains important. Not because your questions are unimportant, but because some answers require perspective. There are questions you have asked that do not yet have visible answers. Perhaps you have wondered, why did that happen? Perhaps you have wondered, why was that door closed? Perhaps you have wondered, why am I still waiting? Perhaps you have wondered, what am I supposed to do next? These are honest questions, and I do not condemn you for asking them. In fact, questions often reveal a heart that is seeking understanding. The problem arises when unanswered questions become sources of fear. When uncertainty remains unresolved, the mind often begins creating its own conclusions. Fear fills in the blanks. Doubt writes its own story. Anxiety predicts outcomes. And before long, you find yourself carrying burdens that were created by assumptions rather than truth. My beloved child, not knowing an answer does not mean the answer does not exist. Not seeing a solution does not mean a solution is absent. Not understanding the purpose does not mean there is no purpose. There are things I understand that you cannot yet fully see. There are pieces of the story that remain hidden for now. There are connections that will make sense later. And while I may not reveal everything immediately, I can offer something equally valuable. I can offer peace. Peace does not require complete understanding. Peace does not require every question to be answered. Peace grows when trust becomes stronger than uncertainty. Think of a child riding in a car with a loving parent. The child may not know every detail of the route. They may not understand every turn. They may not know exactly how long the journey will take. Yet they remain calm because they trust the one driving. My beloved child, I am inviting you into that kind of trust. Not a trust that ignores questions, but a trust that remains steady even while questions exist. A trust that allows peace to remain present despite uncertainty. A trust that believes guidance is available even when the entire path is not visible. You do not need to have every answer today. You do not need to solve every mystery. You do not need to understand every detail of the future. You simply need to continue walking with me. The answers that need to arrive will arrive. The doors that need to open will open. The clarity that needs to come will come. And until then, I want you to rest in this truth. I know every question in your heart. I know every concern. I know every uncertainty. I know every hidden fear. And because I know them, you do not have to carry them alone. Bring your questions to me. Bring your worries to me. Bring your uncertainties to me. For I am not threatened by your questions, my beloved child. I understand them completely. And while some answers will arrive in time, my peace is available to you right now, even before every answer appears. My beloved child, there is a truth I need you to hear deeply today, not merely with your ears but with your heart. It is a truth that many people struggle to believe because life has convinced them otherwise. Your value has never changed. Not because of your successes, not because of your failures, not because of what others think about you, not because of what you own, not because of your accomplishments, not because of your mistakes. Your value has never changed because your worth was never meant to be determined by those things. Yet so many people spend their lives measuring themselves by changing standards. When they succeed, they feel valuable. When they fail, they feel worthless. When they receive approval, they feel confident. When they face criticism, they question themselves. When things go well, they feel secure. When challenges appear, they begin doubting their significance. My beloved child, if your worth depends upon circumstances, then your sense of value will constantly rise and fall. But that was never my design for you. There was once a merchant who possessed a rare and precious jewel. One day, he carried it through a busy marketplace. As he walked, people offered different opinions about its value. Some barely noticed it. Some underestimated it. Some offered small amounts of money for it. Others dismissed it entirely. Yet none of those opinions changed the jewel itself. Its value remained exactly the same regardless of what people thought. The merchant understood something important. The opinions of observers did not determine the worth of the jewel. Its value existed independently of their judgment. My beloved child, you are like that jewel. Many people have offered opinions about who you are. Some encouraged you. Some underestimated you. Some failed to recognize your worth. Some judged you based on limited understanding. Some treated you as though you were less valuable than you truly are. And over time, you may have started believing their opinions. You may have allowed criticism to define you. You may have allowed rejection to shape your identity. You may have allowed mistakes to become labels. You may have allowed disappointments to determine how you see yourself. But listen carefully. The opinions of others do not determine your value. Their misunderstanding does not diminish your worth. Their rejection does not reduce your significance. Their inability to recognize your value does not change what you mean to me. You are valuable because I created you. You are valuable because you are loved. You are valuable because your life carries purpose. You are valuable because you are my beloved child. Nothing can change that. Not failure. Not loss. Not regret. Not weakness. Not uncertainty. Not the mistakes of your past. Many people carry a hidden belief that they must earn love, earn acceptance, or earn worthiness. They spend years trying to prove themselves. They chase achievement. They seek approval. They compare themselves to others. And no matter how much they accomplish, they never feel like it is enough. Why? Because worth cannot be earned. What is already yours does not need to be earned. My beloved child, you do not have to prove your value to me. You do not have to perform perfectly. You do not have to earn my affection. You do not have to become someone else before becoming worthy of love. You are already loved. You are already seen. You are already known. You are already valued. Even now, there may be areas of your life where you feel inadequate. Perhaps you compare yourself to others and feel like you fall short. Perhaps you focus on weaknesses and overlook strengths. Perhaps you replay old mistakes and forget how much growth has already occurred. Perhaps you still carry shame from things that should no longer define you. My beloved child, I want you to release those burdens. Stop defining yourself by your worst moments. Stop measuring your worth through comparison. Stop allowing old wounds to dictate your identity. You are more than your mistakes. You are more than your fears. You are more than your failures. You are more than the labels others have placed upon you. There is a reason why discouragement fights so hard against your confidence. There is a reason why doubt constantly tries to diminish your sense of worth. There is a reason why fear wants you to believe you are less than you truly are. Because when you forget your value, you hesitate. You shrink back. You settle for less than what is possible. But when you understand your worth, something changes. You begin walking with greater confidence. You begin making decisions from a place of strength rather than insecurity. You begin recognizing opportunities instead of limitations. You begin seeing yourself more clearly. My beloved child, I want that clarity for you. I want you to see yourself through my eyes, not through the lens of failure, not through the lens of comparison, not through the lens of criticism, but through the lens of truth. And the truth is simple. Your value has never changed. It has remained constant through every season. It remained constant during your victories. It remained constant during your struggles. It remained constant during your waiting. It remains constant today. So stand firmly in that truth. Hold on to it when doubt appears. Remember it when criticism comes. Return to it when insecurity tries to speak. For you are deeply loved, profoundly valued, and eternally significant. And nothing in this world has the power to change that. My beloved child, there are experiences in your life that you wish had never happened. There are chapters you would not have chosen. There are battles you never wanted to fight. There are tears you never wanted to cry. If given the opportunity, you might have rewritten certain parts of your story completely. I understand that. I understand the pain of disappointment. I understand the weight of loss. I understand the scars left behind by difficult seasons. But I want to reveal something powerful to you today. The story is not finished at the point of pain. The story continues beyond the struggle. The story extends beyond the wound. And what feels like a test today can become a testimony tomorrow. Many people believe that testimony begins with victory. But testimony actually begins with struggle. There can be no story of overcoming without something to overcome. There can be no story of healing without a wound that needed healing. There can be no story of restoration without something that once felt broken. The very chapters you wish had never happened may become the chapters that inspire others one day. There was once a potter who created beautiful clay vessels. One vessel, however, developed a crack during the shaping process. To those watching, it seemed ruined. They assumed it could no longer fulfill its purpose. But the potter did not throw it away. Instead, he carefully repaired it. He strengthened the damaged area and continued shaping it with patience and skill. When the vessel was finally completed, it became one of the most beautiful pieces in the workshop. What had once appeared to be a flaw became part of its story. My beloved child, there are cracks in your story too. There are moments that hurt. There are chapters that challenged you. There are memories that still carry emotion. Yet those experiences do not disqualify you. They do not make you less valuable. They do not make your future smaller. In many ways, they become part of the wisdom, compassion, and strength that you now carry. Think about how much you have learned through your struggles. Think about the empathy that has grown within you. Think about the patience that difficult seasons have developed. Think about the resilience that emerged through adversity. These qualities were not created in comfortable moments. They were forged through challenges. And because of that, they possess depth and authenticity. One day, someone will face a struggle similar to one you have already endured. They will feel alone. They will feel discouraged. They will wonder whether they can continue. And your story may become the encouragement they need. Not because your journey was perfect, but because it was real. People are often inspired not by perfection but by perseverance. They are encouraged not by flawless stories but by honest ones. They find hope when they see someone who endured hardship and continued moving forward. My beloved child, there are parts of your journey that already carry this kind of power. The challenge you survived, the loss you endured, the fear you confronted, the healing you experienced, the growth that emerged. These things matter, not only for you, but for others whose paths will intersect with yours. Sometimes people ask why they had to go through certain experiences, and while not every painful event has a simple explanation, I can tell you this: nothing is wasted. Not the tears, not the waiting, not the setbacks, not the disappointments, not even the mistakes. I am able to weave all of it into something meaningful. I am able to bring growth from hardship. I am able to bring wisdom from failure. I am able to bring strength from weakness. I am able to bring beauty from brokenness. This does not mean the process is always easy. Transformation rarely feels easy while it is happening. When a seed breaks open underground, the process is uncomfortable. When a caterpillar enters a cocoon, the transformation is hidden and mysterious. When gold is refined, it passes through fire. Yet the result is greater than the process. And in your life, transformation is already occurring. You may not fully recognize it yet. You may still be focused on the difficulties. You may still be healing from certain wounds. But growth is happening. Wisdom is growing. Strength is increasing. Purpose is becoming clearer. Your story is evolving. So stop viewing yourself only through the lens of what happened to you. Begin viewing yourself through the lens of what is being created within you. You are not merely a survivor of difficult circumstances. You are becoming a source of encouragement. You are becoming a source of wisdom. You are becoming a source of hope. And the experiences that once seemed meaningless are gaining purpose. My beloved child, trust me with the unfinished parts of your story. Trust me with the painful chapters. Trust me with the questions that remain. For I am still writing. I am still restoring. I am still shaping. And as I continue this work, you will discover that what once felt like a test was never meant to destroy you. It was preparing a testimony of resilience, a testimony of healing, a testimony of grace, a testimony of hope. And one day, when you look back, you will see that the chapters you feared most became some of the most powerful chapters in your entire story. My beloved child, one of the deepest desires of the human heart is peace. Not temporary relief, not a brief distraction, not a momentary escape from problems, but true peace. The kind of peace that remains steady even when life feels uncertain. The kind of peace that quiets anxious thoughts. The kind of peace that settles the heart when questions remain unanswered. The kind of peace that allows you to breathe deeply and trust that everything does not have to be figured out immediately. Many people spend years searching for this peace. They search through achievements. They search through possessions. They search through relationships. They search through success. They search through constant activity. Yet despite all their efforts, peace often feels just beyond reach. Why? Because peace can't be permanently found in things that constantly change. Circumstances change. People change. Opportunities change. Seasons change. And when peace depends entirely upon changing conditions, it becomes fragile. My beloved child, the peace you have been searching for is deeper than circumstances. It is deeper than success. It is deeper than certainty. It is found in trust. There was once a sailor who spent many years navigating the ocean. During his early journeys, every storm terrified him. Whenever dark clouds appeared, fear immediately took hold of his heart. He constantly searched for perfectly calm seas. But the more he traveled, the more he realized something important. The ocean would never remain calm all the time. Storms were part of the journey. Eventually, an older captain taught him a valuable lesson. The goal is not to find a sea without storms, the captain said. The goal is to learn how to remain steady while storms pass through. Over time, the sailor gained confidence. The storms did not disappear, but his fear began to diminish. His peace no longer depended entirely upon calm conditions. My beloved child, many people postpone peace until every problem is solved. They tell themselves, I will have peace when this situation improves. I will have peace when I receive an answer. I will have peace when everything finally works out. But if peace is always postponed, it never arrives. Because life will always contain some uncertainty. There will always be another challenge to face, another decision to make, another question to answer. That is why the peace I offer is different. It is not based on perfect circumstances. It is based on my presence. When you trust that you are not walking alone, peace begins to grow. When you trust that your future is not random, peace begins to grow. When you trust that I am working even when you cannot see it, peace begins to grow. Peace does not require complete understanding. It requires confidence in the one who understands. My beloved child, I know how easily anxiety can enter your thoughts. I know how quickly worry can multiply. One concern becomes two. Two concerns become 10. And before long, your mind is carrying burdens it was never meant to hold. Anxiety constantly demands certainty. It wants guarantees. It wants complete control. It wants answers for every possibility. But certainty is not always available. Control is often limited, and answers sometimes take time. This is why peace becomes so important. Peace allows you to rest even when certainty is absent. Peace allows you to trust even when control is limited. Peace allows you to continue moving forward even when every answer has not yet arrived. Think about a child resting peacefully during a long journey. The child does not know every detail of the route. They do not know every turn the road will take. They do not know exactly how long the journey will last. Yet they sleep peacefully because they trust the one driving. My beloved child, I want that kind of peace for you. Not because life will become perfect, but because you will learn to trust me more deeply. There are burdens you have carried for too long. Worries that have occupied your thoughts. Questions that have consumed your attention. Fears that have stolen your rest. Today, I invite you to release them. Not because they are unimportant, but because they are too heavy for you to carry alone. Bring them to me. Bring me the worries about your future. Bring me the concerns about your family. Bring me the fears about finances. Bring me the questions about direction. Bring me the disappointments that still hurt. You do not need to carry them by yourself. The peace you seek is not found in holding everything together. The peace you seek is found in surrendering what you cannot control. Even now, my beloved child, I am inviting your heart to rest. Rest from striving. Rest from fear. Rest from constant worry. Rest from the pressure of needing every answer today. Allow my peace to settle over your thoughts. Allow my presence to quiet your fears. Allow my love to remind you that you are safe in my care. For the peace you have been searching for is not far away. It is already available. It is waiting in trust. It is waiting in surrender. It is waiting in the confidence that I am with you. And as you learn to rest in that truth, you will discover a peace that remains steady even when the world around you continues to change. My beloved child, whether you fully realize it or not, you are standing near the edge of a new chapter. For a long time, you have focused on what has already happened. You have reflected on the lessons of previous seasons. You have carried memories from old battles. You have processed disappointments, victories, losses, and growth. All of those experiences have shaped you. But now I want to direct your attention forward, not backward, forward. Because the story I am writing through your life is still moving. The pages continue turning. The journey continues unfolding. And a new chapter is beginning. Many people struggle to recognize new beginnings because they expect them to arrive dramatically. They imagine that change will always announce itself loudly. They assume new chapters begin with immediate transformation. But often, new chapters begin quietly. A new thought, a new perspective, a new opportunity, a new relationship, a renewed sense of purpose, a restored hope. At first, these changes may seem small, yet over time, they become the foundation of something significant. There was once a woman who lived through a long and difficult winter. Day after day, the landscape around her remained cold and barren. The trees appeared lifeless. The fields seemed empty. The skies were often gray. After many months, she became accustomed to the winter. In fact, she began believing it would never end. Then one morning, she noticed a small green shoot emerging from the ground. It seemed insignificant, easy to overlook. Yet the tiny sign carried an important message. Spring had already begun. The entire landscape had not changed yet. The fields were not yet full of flowers. The trees were not yet covered in leaves. But the season was shifting. My beloved child, there are signs of new beginnings already appearing in your life. Perhaps they are subtle. Perhaps they are easy to overlook. But they are there. Maybe it is a new sense of hope. Maybe it is a growing confidence. Maybe it is a renewed desire to pursue a dream. Maybe it is a lesson that finally makes sense. Maybe it is a peace that has begun replacing fear. These are not random developments. They are indicators that growth is occurring. One reason people struggle during transitions is because they try to hold on to old chapters while simultaneously stepping into new ones. They want new opportunities while refusing to release old fears. They want fresh beginnings while clinging to old disappointments. They want transformation while remaining attached to outdated beliefs. But every new chapter requires space. The old chapter served its purpose. The lessons were valuable. The growth was real. But you cannot live in yesterday and fully embrace tomorrow at the same time. My beloved child, I know change can feel uncomfortable. Even positive change can create uncertainty. You become familiar with certain routines, patterns, and expectations. Then something shifts. Suddenly, you find yourself standing between what was and what will be. That space can feel unsettling, yet it is often where growth accelerates. A caterpillar cannot become a butterfly without passing through transformation. A seed cannot become a tree without breaking open. A traveler cannot reach a new destination without leaving the previous one behind. In the same way, new chapters require movement. And movement requires trust. Trust that what lies ahead is worth embracing. Trust that the lessons of the past have prepared you. Trust that you do not need to fear the future. You are more prepared than you realize. Think about everything you have learned. Think about the wisdom you have gained. Think about the strength you have developed. Think about the healing that has taken place. Those experiences were not random. They were preparation. Preparation for this next season. Preparation for new responsibilities. Preparation for new opportunities. Preparation for greater understanding. Preparation for a deeper awareness of your purpose. My beloved child, do not approach this new chapter with fear. Approach it with expectation. Do not focus solely on what could go wrong. Remain open to what could go right. Do not allow old disappointments to dictate new possibilities. Do not allow previous setbacks to determine future outcomes. The future deserves to be viewed through fresh eyes. And as this new chapter unfolds, remember that you are not entering it alone. I am already there. I am present in the opportunities you have not yet seen. I am present in the conversations that have not yet happened. I am present in the doors that have not yet opened. I am present in the blessings that have not yet arrived. You do not need to fear what lies ahead because my presence goes before you. So lift your eyes, my beloved child. Take a deep breath. Release what no longer belongs. Welcome what is beginning. The winter season is passing. The first signs of spring are already appearing, and the chapter ahead contains more hope, more growth, more purpose, and more beauty than you can currently imagine. A new chapter is beginning. Step into it with confidence, because I will walk with you every step of the way. My beloved child, one of the reasons fear gains power is because it constantly focuses on what you cannot see. It points toward the future and fills the unknown with worry. It asks questions without answers. It presents possibilities without certainty. It whispers that because you do not know what lies ahead, you should be afraid of it. But today, I want to remind you of something that can change the way you view every tomorrow. You may not know what lies ahead, but I do. You may not see the next chapter clearly, but I already stand within it. You may not know how every detail will unfold, but I am not discovering your future as it happens. I am already there. My beloved child, there is great comfort in knowing that you never walk into an unknown future alone. Before you arrive at tomorrow, I am already present within it. Before you encounter the next challenge, I already know the solution. Before you face the next decision, I already understand the path. You are not leading yourself through life. You are being guided. There was once a shepherd leading his flock through unfamiliar terrain. The path wound through hills, valleys, forests, and narrow passages. The sheep could not see very far ahead. Many times, they did not understand where the shepherd was taking them. At certain points, the path appeared difficult. At other times, it seemed uncertain. The sheep could only see what was immediately around them. But the shepherd had already walked those routes many times before. He knew where the dangerous cliffs were located. He knew where fresh water could be found. He knew where safe resting places existed. He knew which path led to danger and which led to safety. The sheep did not need complete understanding. They simply needed to follow the shepherd. My beloved child, there are moments when your journey resembles that flock. You do not always understand the road. You do not always understand the timing. You do not always understand why certain things happen. But I see what you cannot see. I know which paths will strengthen you. I know which opportunities will help you grow. I know which doors should open and which should remain closed. I know what is waiting ahead. And because I know, you can trust my guidance. There have been many times in your life when you worried about situations that never happened. You imagined difficulties that never arrived. You feared outcomes that never became reality. Looking back now, you can see how much energy was spent worrying about things that ultimately never occurred. Fear often does that. It creates shadows larger than reality. It convinces you that uncertainty is dangerous. It persuades you to expect problems before they exist. But my beloved child, what if you approached the future differently? What if instead of expecting disaster, you expected guidance? What if instead of focusing on uncertainty, you focus on my presence? What if instead of fearing the unknown, you trusted the one who knows? Everything would begin to change. You would still face challenges. You would still encounter questions. You would still experience seasons of growth. But those experiences would no longer be defined by fear. They would be guided by trust. Trust does not require complete visibility. Trust simply requires confidence in the one leading you. Think about a child learning to walk beside a loving parent through a crowded place. The child does not need to understand every direction. The child does not need to know every detail of the journey. The child simply holds the parent's hand. A connection creates security. My beloved child, I am offering you that same security. Not because I promise a life without difficulty, but because I promise my presence through every difficulty. There are situations ahead that will require wisdom. I will provide it. There are decisions ahead that will require guidance. I will provide it. There are challenges ahead that will require strength. I will provide it. There are opportunities ahead that will require courage. I will provide it. You do not need to possess tomorrow's strength today. You only need enough faith for today's step. Tomorrow's strength will arrive when tomorrow arrives. One reason I am speaking this truth to you now is because there are still areas of your heart where fear attempts to live. Fear of failure, fear of disappointment, fear of loss, fear of making the wrong decision, fear of what might happen. But fear loses its grip when you remember who is walking ahead of you. I am already present in every tomorrow. I am already aware of every challenge. I am already preparing what you need. I am already making provision where provision will be required. Nothing surprises me. Nothing catches me unprepared. Nothing arrives beyond my awareness. So stop measuring the future by your fears. Stop imagining that you must figure everything out alone. Stop carrying responsibility for outcomes you cannot control. Instead, trust the one who walks ahead of you. Trust the one who knows the road. Trust the one who sees beyond every horizon. My beloved child, you are not wandering through uncertainty by yourself. You are being led. You are being guided. You are being protected. And even when the road bends in ways you do not expect, remember this truth. I am already there. I have gone before you. I am walking ahead of you. And because of that, you can move forward with confidence, knowing that the future is not something to fear but something we will face together. My beloved child, we have traveled a long journey together through these moments. I have spoken to your fears, your questions, your disappointments, your hopes, your wounds, and your future. I have reminded you of truths that perhaps you once knew but needed to hear again. And now, before we reach the final chapter of this message, there is one more thing I want you to do. I want you to receive it, not as a message meant for someone else, not as words intended only for the people around you, not as encouragement that applies to everyone except you. I want you to receive it as yours. Because too often, people hear words of hope and immediately think of someone else who needs them. They hear promises and assume they belong to another person. They hear encouragement and quietly wonder whether it could truly apply to their own situation. But my beloved child, this message was not given so you could merely listen to it. It was given so you could believe it. There is a difference. Many people hear truth without embracing it. They agree with it intellectually, yet never allow it to take root within their hearts. As a result, they continue carrying burdens they no longer need to carry. They continue believing fears they no longer need to believe. They continue living beneath truths they have heard but never fully accepted. Today, I want something different for you. I want these words to move from your ears into your heart. There was once a farmer who scattered seed across a field. Some seed landed on hard ground. Some landed among thorns. Some landed in places where it could not develop strong roots. But some seed found good soil. And when it did, growth began. The seed itself was the same. The difference was whether it was received. My beloved child, throughout this message, I have been planting seeds. Seeds of hope. Seeds of healing. Seeds of courage. Seeds of trust. Seed of peace. Seeds of restoration. Now the question is not whether those seeds were planted. The question is whether you will receive them. Will you receive the truth that you are deeply loved? Will you receive the truth that you have never been forgotten? Will you receive the truth that your value has never changed? Will you receive the truth that your future remains filled with possibility? Will you receive the truth that I have been walking beside you all along? Will you receive the truth that your story is not over? My beloved child, I know there may still be doubts. I know there may still be fears. I know there may still be unanswered questions. But faith does not require the absence of every doubt. Faith simply chooses which voice it will trust. You can continue trusting fear, or you can trust me. You can continue listening to discouragement, or you can listen to my promises. You can continue measuring your future by past disappointments, or you can begin viewing it through the lens of hope. The choice belongs to you, and today I invite you to choose hope. Choose trust. Choose peace. Choose faith. Choose to believe that what I have spoken over your life is true. Remember everything I have reminded you of. I have seen every tear. I have understood every struggle. I have not forgotten your dreams. I have been healing wounds others cannot see. I have been preparing you through seasons of waiting. I have been strengthening you through challenges. I have been opening your eyes to new possibilities. I have been walking ahead of you. I have been making a way where you thought none existed. And I am not finished. There are still blessings ahead. There are still lessons ahead. There are still opportunities ahead. There are still moments of joy ahead. There are still answers ahead. There are still beautiful chapters waiting to be written. Do not allow temporary circumstances to convince you otherwise. Do not allow fear to become louder than my voice. Do not allow old disappointments to steal new hope. Instead, stand firmly in what you have heard. Carry these truths with you. Return to them when doubt appears. Remember them when challenges arise. Hold on to them when the road feels uncertain. For they are not empty words. They are reminders of what has always been true. My beloved child, receive this message as your own. Receive the hope. Receive the healing. Receive the peace. Receive the strength. Receive the love. Receive the promise that you are seen, known, valued, and guided. And as you continue moving forward, let these truths become part of the foundation beneath your feet. Because the story I am writing through your life is still unfolding, and what lies ahead is greater than what lies behind. So lift your head, open your heart, and receive this message as yours. My beloved child, we have come to the end of this message, but not to the end of your journey. In many ways, what you have heard today is not a conclusion at all. It is a beginning. It is a reminder. It is an invitation to move forward with a renewed heart, a clear mind, and a deeper trust in my presence. Before you leave this moment, I want you to remember what I have been telling you from the very beginning. You are not here by accident. You have never been forgotten. You have never walked alone. Every tear has been seen. Every prayer had been heard. Every struggle has been known. Even during the seasons when you felt lost, I was guiding you. Even during the seasons when you felt weak, I was strengthening you. Even during the seasons when you felt abandoned, I was carrying you. My beloved child, there were times when you believed the story was ending, but I was preparing a new chapter. There were times when you thought a closed door meant the end of your opportunity, but I was leading you toward a better path. There were times when you looked at your wounds and saw only pain, but I was already creating healing. There were times when you focused on what was missing, while I was preparing what was next. I want you to carry the truth with you. When fear returns, remember that I am greater than your fears. When uncertainty appears, remember that I already stand in your future. When discouragement whispers, remember that your story is still being written. When doubt tries to speak, remember that your value has never changed. You are my beloved child. You are deeply loved. You are wonderfully known. You are carefully guided. You are stronger than you realize. And the future before you contains more hope than you can presently see. To walk forward with confidence. Walk forward with peace. Walk forward with expectation. Do not allow yesterday's disappointments to become tomorrow's limitations. Do not allow old wounds to define your identity. Do not allow temporary struggles to steal eternal hope. Lift your eyes. Lift your heart. Lift your expectations. For I am still working. I am still healing. I am still restoring. I am still opening doors. I am still making a way. And I am still writing beautiful chapters into your story. My beloved child, if this message has touched your heart, strengthened your faith, or reminded you that I am still speaking to my children, then hear me now. Every seed sown into this mission becomes a stream of living water reaching thirsty souls across the world. As my word declares, whoever sows generously will also reap generously, and that promise remains alive for every willing heart today. I am calling those who have been blessed by this message to help carry this light farther. Through a super thanks, YouTube membership, or a PayPal gift, you help open doors for countless people searching for hope in their darkest moments. The PayPal donation link is waiting in the video description, and the QR code in this video provides another path to sow your seed. Do not view your giving as an expense. See it as planting into a harvest of transformed lives. Every act of generosity becomes another lamp shining in places where discouragement once lived. I see every seed, every sacrifice, and every obedient response made with love. I will remember the hands that help spread my message and encourage weary hearts. Do not postpone the prompting I place within your spirit. Sow your seed, strengthen this mission, and become part of the harvest I am gathering today. And now, my beloved child, I place my blessing upon you. May peace guard your heart. May wisdom guide your decisions. May courage strengthen your steps. May healing continue within your soul. May hope rise higher than fear. May joy return where sorrow once lingered. May purpose become clearer with every passing day. May you walk confidently into the future, knowing that I am with you. And whenever you feel uncertain, remember this message. Remember my promises. Remember my love. Remember that you are never alone. I am your Father. I am your guide. I am your refuge. I am your strength. And I will remain with you through every chapter yet to come. Amen.